तो ये सुगबुगाहट तो आपको बहुत पहले हो गई होगी या अचानक से कुछ ऐसा हुआ कि जिसके बाद आपने पद छीन लिया?
देखिए, जब कोई आपका साथी होता है, आपके साथ लंबे समय से काम कर रहा होता है, तो आप अविश्वास के साथ शुरुआत नहीं करते हैं। आप सोचते हैं कि हो सकता है कि इस मुद्दे पे ना बोल रहा हो कोई कारण हो, दूसरे मुद्दे पे ना बोल रहा हो कोई कारण हो, पर जब एक के बाद एक, देखिए ये कोई व्यक्तिगत अनबन नहीं है। राघव चड्ढा जी हमारे दोस्त हैं, हमने राजनीति शुरू की, हम इतने सालों से साथ हैं, लेकिन बहुत सारे हमारे ऐसे दोस्त हैं जो हमारे साथ स्कूल कॉलेज में पढ़े थे, जो कांग्रेस पार्टी में हैं, जो बीजेपी में हैं। सवाल दोस्ती का नहीं है, सवाल व्यक्तिगत संबंध का नहीं है, सवाल इस देश के संविधान और लोकतंत्र का है। और आज इस देश में हर व्यक्ति जो कहता है कि मैं आम आदमी की हक की आवाज़ उठा रहा हूँ, उसे ये तय करना पड़ेगा कि या तो वो लोकतंत्र और संविधान के साथ है, या तो वो आम लोगों के साथ है, या वो बीजेपी और मोदी जी के साथ है।
आप कह रहे हैं कि निजी संबंध हैं, दोस्त हैं, और ये हमने भी देखा है कि हर बैठक में, हर पार्टी के सम्मेलन में, हर रैली में पर्सनल लेवल पर बातचीत होती है, या पार्टी जैसा कह रही है वैसा आतिशी जी अभी कर रही हैं?
देखिए, जैसा मैंने कहा, सवाल व्यक्तिगत संबंध का है ही नहीं, सवाल देश का है, सवाल संविधान का है। अगर आज मोदी जी के खिलाफ बोलने से राघव जी डर रहे हैं, आज लोकतंत्र पे हो रहे हमले के खिलाफ राघव जी बोलने से डर रहे हैं, तो इस देश के आम आदमी के साथ नहीं खड़े।
आखिरी सवाल, डर क्यों रहे हैं? आपको ऐसा क्यों लग रहा है कि राघव चड्ढा डर रहे हैं? क्योंकि हमने देखा कि जब तमाम आम आदमी पार्टी के नेता सड़क पर थे, प्रदर्शन कर रहे थे, उस समय ये सवाल उठा कि राघव अपने ऑपरेशन के लिए विदेश गए हुए हैं। डर क्या है राघव चड्ढा के मन में?
देखिए, एक बीजेपी का SOP है, स्टैंडर्ड ऑपरेटिंग प्रोसीजर है, कि वो विपक्ष के नेताओं को डराते हैं, धमकाते हैं, किसी पे सही गलत आरोप लगाते हैं, षड्यंत्र करते हैं। और हमने देखा है कि बहुत सारे विपक्ष के नेता जिन्होंने कुछ गलत किया होता है, वो कूद के जाके बीजेपी की गोद में बैठ जाते हैं। अभी असम में भी इलेक्शन चल रहा है, हेमंत विश्व शर्मा से बड़ा बेहतरीन एग्जाम्पल नहीं हो सकता। हमने प्रफुल्ल पटेल के साथ भी यही देखा है कि एक एक करके जिन नेताओं ने कुछ गलत काम किया होता है, वो कूद के बीजेपी में चले जाते हैं।
आपको लग रहा है कि राघव बीजेपी में जाने वाले?
संभव है, जिस तरह से बीजेपी के खिलाफ बोलने को तैयार नहीं है, हो सकता है।
आतिशी जी को आप सुन रहे थे, कह रहे हैं कि संभव है कि वो बीजेपी में जाएं राघव चड्ढा, और तमाम जो एक तरीके से रहे घटनाक्रम रहे हैं, उन घटनाक्रमों को जोड़कर आम आदमी पार्टी यहाँ पर देख रही है, और उसी सिलसिले में एक राघव चड्ढा के खिलाफ कार्रवाई की राज्यसभा में लेकर, और उसकी कहीं ना कहीं जो राजनीति को लेकर जो तमाम अब जो घटनाएं हो रही हैं, तो उसने कहीं ना कहीं उसको और बढ़ावा देने का काम किया है। कैमरा पर्सन निर्देश्वर के साथ मानव यादव।
All right, viewers, it's not just the former Delhi CM Atishi Singh or Saurabh Bharadwaj who are now raising concerns about Raghav Chadha, but also Punjab CM Bhagwant Mann, who now says that Raghav Chadha has been compromised. We are looking at one statement after another coming in from AAP leadership, raising questions about the loyalty of Raghav Chadha. They now say he has been compromised and also set to join BJP. Now, they also say that there have been several issues that they have been asking Raghav Chadha to raise in the upper house, the Rajya Sabha, but he has been declining to raise those issues. And now also Raghav Chadha responded to this, saying that he has been silenced but not defeated. First up, let's listen into Punjab CM's response on this, saying that Raghav Chadha has now been compromised.
कि अज ये मुद्दा जिहड़ा है वो जिहड़ियां वोटां कट्टियां जा रही हैं, लीगल वोटां नूं कट्टिया जा रहा है, सही वोटां नूं कट के गलत वोटां अपने बंदियां दियां जाली वोटां बनाईयां जा रही ने। इस मुद्दे ते बोलना है। गुजरात दे विच 160 साडे लीडर ते वलंटियरां ते पर्चे कर दित्ते गए, ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ बोलना है। पंजाब दे विच किवें ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਧਰਮ ਤੇ ਜਾਤੀ ਦੀ ਲੜਾਈ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਦੀਆਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ਾਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਚੱਕਣਾ ਹੈ। ਜਾਂ MSP ਦਾ ਜਾਂ GST ਦਾ ਪੈਸਾ ਜਾਂ RDF ਦਾ ਪੈਸਾ ਉਹ ਚੱਕਣਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹਦੀ ਬਜਾਏ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ 에ਅਰਪੋਰਟ ਤੇ ਸਮੋਸਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਰੇਟ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਕਿਸੇ ਡਿਲੀਵਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ PJ ਦੀ ਉਹ 30 ਦੀ ਬਜਾਏ 40 ਮਿੰਟਾਂ 'ਚ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ, ਐਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਚੱਕੂਗਾ, ਫਿਰ ਲੱਗੂਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਪਾਸੇ ਤੋਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੋਂ ਬੋਲ ਰਹੇ ਆ।
All All right, viewers, so that's where the total picture right now stands. Aam Aadmi Party says that he has been compromised. Raghav Chadha is all set to join BJP, while Raghav Chadha says that he has been silenced and not defeated. So those are the two responses coming in. He's saying he's been silenced and not defeated, while AAP is hitting back saying that he has been compromised. We will also get you more statements and more reactions coming in. Now, Raghav Chadha in his defense is questioning, in fact, is raising a public issue, a crime. Now, he's asking his party, Aam Aadmi Party, the questions and the issues that he has raised in Rajya Sabha, is that a crime? To which Aam Aadmi Party has been hitting back, saying that he is afraid to speak against Prime Minister Modi. To which, of course, Raghav Chadha is now responding, saying, why is AAP trying to silence me? So it does seem that the battle between Raghav Chadha and Aam Aadmi Party leadership is now widening. There's a clear rift which is now out in the open. All right, viewers, now staying on the story and getting you more reactions. It's the Sanjay Singh, Aam Aadmi Party leader, has also now reacted to this. In fact, on this, he said that Raghav did not support the party, did not support the leaders when they were put in a jail by Prime Minister Modi's government. He also goes on to say, you did not lend us support when we raised national issues. So again, one after the other, top AAP leadership is coming out, and this time joining on this wagon is Aam Aadmi Party leader Sanjay Singh, who's now questioning Raghav Chadha, saying that Raghav did not support the party, did not support the leaders when they were in jail. He also goes on to say that he did not lend support to them when they raised national issues. Let's take a listen.
राघव का एक वीडियो आया है, मैं उसके संबंध में ये कहना चाहता हूं कि हम लोग अरविंद केजरीवाल के सच्चे सिपाही हैं और अरविंद केजरीवाल से एक ही बात सीखी है, निडरता, हिम्मत, साहस के साथ लड़ना और संघर्ष करना। लेकिन बड़े अफसोस के साथ ये कहना पड़ रहा है कि देश के तमाम मुद्दों पर जब सीईसी के खिलाफ प्रस्ताव आता है, आप साइन नहीं करते। पश्चिम बंगाल में लोगों के वोट के अधिकार छीने जा रहे हैं। दिल्ली में हम लोगों ने देखा किस तरीके से चुनाव आयोग का दुरुपयोग हुआ। पंजाब का मुद्दा होता है, उस वक्त आप खामोश रहते हो, नहीं बोलते हो। मोदी के खिलाफ आवाज नहीं निकालते हो। तमाम वो मुद्दे जो जनहित के हैं, देश से जुड़े हुए हैं, पार्टी से जुड़े हुए हैं, पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं से जुड़े हुए हैं। गुजरात में पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं को पीटा जाता है, मारा जाता है, उस पर नहीं बोलते। पंजाब के तमाम अधिकारों को छीनने का काम केंद्र सरकार और मोदी सरकार करती है, उस पर नहीं बोलते। तो ये बहुत सारे मुद्दों पर वॉकआउट करने का मामला आता है, उस समय वॉकआउट नहीं करते। तो ये तमाम चीजें हैं जिसका जवाब देश आपसे चाहता है, लोग आपसे चाहते हैं।
All right, viewers, it's not just again Sanjay Singh who's been raising these issues, but also Saurabh Bharadwaj has now taken a samosa jibe at Raghav Chadha. Now he says that he's not been following the party whip, he's not been following the instructions given to him about the issues which should be raised in Rajya Sabha. Take a listen.
राघव भाई, अभी आपका वीडियो देखा। हम सब लोग अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के सिपाही हैं और हमने तो एक ही बात सीखी थी, जो डर गया समझो मर गया। हम सबको तो लोगों के मुद्दे उठाने थे, सरकार की आंख में आंख डाल के। पिछले कुछ दिनों में हमने देखा, जो भी कोई सीरियस मुद्दे सरकार के खिलाफ उठाता है, सरकार से प्रश्न पूछता है, लोगों की बात करता है, सरकार डिक्टेटर की तरह उसको तमाम सोशल मीडिया पर बैन कर रही है। चाहे वो ट्विटर हो, चाहे वो फेसबुक हो, चाहे वो यूट्यूब हो, सब जगह बैन किया जा रहा है। FIR दर्ज कराई जा रही हैं, मुकदमे किए जा रहे हैं। सरकार को इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि कोई सॉफ्ट PR अपनी पार्लियामेंट में करे, क्योंकि पार्लियामेंट में एक छोटी सी पार्टी का बड़ा लिमिटेड टाइम होता है। उसमें अगर कोई समोसों की बात उठा रहा है तो उससे ज़रूरी है कि देश के बड़े मुद्दों की बात उठाएं।
All right, viewers, we're getting some breaking news at this hour. There's been a minor technical snag reported in the chopper used by Home Minister Amit Shah. Now, Home Minister Amit Shah's rally has been called off as a result due to a technical snag reported in his chopper. A rally was scheduled to take place at Golagganj, Assam, but now it has been called off due to the delay, which was caused by a minor technical snag reported in his chopper. The rallies of Home Minister Amit Shah has not been affected so far. Now we're looking at a minor technical snag being reported in the chopper used by Amit Shah as he was on his way to another rally in Agolaganj, which has now been called off in Assam. Earlier before he also addressed a rally in Assam. All right, my colleague Aniruddha now joins me with more details on this. Aniruddha, do tell us, what do we know about this minor technical snag reported in Home Minister Amit Shah's chopper? Aniruddha, could you please unmute yourself? All right, we'll try to connect with him. But viewers, that is the major news we're getting at this hour, that there has been a minor technical snag reported, in fact, in Home Minister Amit Shah's chopper. Now, going back to other news we're covering at this hour, Republic also spoke to AAP leader Anurag Dhanda on the major controversy now that's brewing up within the Aam Aadmi Party over the loyalty of Raghav Chadha being questioned right after his ouster from his position of a deputy leader in Rajya Sabha. Take a listen.
नहीं, हम तो कोई अटैक नहीं कर रहे हैं। आप मतलब हम तो सिंपल सी बात ये कह रहे हैं कि ये पार्टी का प्रोरोगेटिव है कि किसी भी कार्यकर्ता को क्या जिम्मेदारी देनी है। कभी वो किसी को कोई जिम्मेदारी दी जाती है, कभी किसी को। उसमें क्यों इस तरीके का बयान राघव जी ने दिया, ये राघव जी से आपको पूछना चाहिए कि उनको भी तो किसी को हटा के इस पद पे बिठाया था ना, और पद का ऐसा लालच होना ही नहीं चाहिए। आम आदमी पार्टी में पहली चीज़ सिखाई जाती है कि पद का लालच नहीं करना है। तो अगर एक पद नहीं रहा तो उसके लिए इस तरीके का बयान देना, ये उनको स्पष्ट करना चाहिए कि कहाँ तक सही है।
तो ये भी कह रहे हैं आपकी मोदी जी से डर रहे हैं, ही इज अफ्रेड ऑफ मोदी। ऑन व्हाट लाइन आर यू एक्चुअली सेइंग?
नहीं, देखिए, हम तो सिर्फ एक सवाल ये कर रहे हैं कि आखिर ऐसा कोई भी बात, ऐसा कोई सवाल करने से क्यों घबरा रहे हैं राघव जी, जिससे मोदी जी नाराज़ होते हो। कोई भी उनके खिलाफ एक शब्द भी क्यों नहीं बोलते हैं। तो इन सारी चीज़ों पे उनको जवाब देना चाहिए। वो पंजाब से सांसद हैं, पंजाब के हज़ारों करोड़ रुपए केंद्र सरकार ने रोक रखे हैं। हमारे कई सांसद उस पर सवाल उठाते हैं, राघव जी ने कभी उसके बारे में नहीं बोला। तो ये तो उनको स्पष्ट करना चाहिए। तो ऐसे तमाम मुद्दे जहाँ पे सरकार नाराज़ हो जाती हो, सरकार नाराज़ होती है, वो चुप रह जाते हैं। सीईसी के खिलाफ हम प्रस्ताव लेके आए, हमने कहा साइन कर दो, उन्होंने साइन ही नहीं किया उसके ऊपर। तो ये तो उनको बताना चाहिए कि लोकतंत्र बचाने की लड़ाई में भी वो साथ नहीं दे रहे हैं। तो ये क्या कारण है उसका? पिछले 1-1.5 साल से ऐसा क्या हो गया? वो मोदी जी से क्यों डरे हुए हैं, क्यों बोलने से घबराते हैं, ये उनको स्पष्ट करना चाहिए।
All right, viewers, while there have been accusations leveled against Raghav Chadha by his leaders in the Aam Aadmi Party, he's also come out in his defense saying that he's been silenced and not defeated. He also goes on to say that why is AAP silencing me when I'm raising issues which are concerned to common man. Take a listen.
मुझे जब जब पार्लियामेंट में बोलने का मौका मिलता है, मैं जनता के मुद्दे उठाता हूँ और शायद ऐसे टॉपिक्स उठाता हूँ जिसे आम तौर पर संसद में नहीं उठाया जाता है। लेकिन क्या जनता के मुद्दे उठाना, पब्लिक इश्यूज पे बात करना कोई अपराध है? क्या मैंने कोई गुनाह कर दिया, कोई गलती कर दी? हैव आई डन समथिंग रॉन्ग? ये सवाल आज मैं इसलिए पूछ रहा हूं क्योंकि आम आदमी पार्टी ने राज्यसभा सेक्रेटेरिएट को ये कहा है कि राघव चड्ढा के पार्लियामेंट में बोलने पर रोक लगा दी जाए। जी हां, आम आदमी पार्टी ने पार्लियामेंट को ये सूचित किया है कि राघव चड्ढा को पार्लियामेंट में बोलने का मौका ना दिया जाए। अब भला कोई मेरे बोलने पर रोक क्यों लगाना चाहेगा? मैं तो जब बात करता हूं देश के आम आदमी की बात करता हूं। एयरपोर्ट पर मिल रहे महंगे खाने की बात रखी, जोमैटो ब्लिंकिट के डिलीवरी राइडर्स की प्रॉब्लम रखी, खाने में मिलावट का मुद्दा उठाया, टोल प्लाजा लूट से लेकर बैंक चार्जेस लूट की बात करी, यहां तक कि मिडिल क्लास पे टैक्स के बोझ से लेकर कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स पर स्ट्राइक क्यों करी जाती है, टेलीकॉम कंपनियां कैसे 12 महीने में 13 बार हमसे रिचार्ज कराती हैं, डेटा रोल ओवर नहीं देती हैं, रिचार्ज खत्म होने के बाद इनकमिंग रोक देती है, तमाम इश्यूज मैंने सदन में उठाए। और ये मुद्दे उठाने के बाद देश के आम आदमी का तो फायदा हुआ, लेकिन इससे आम आदमी पार्टी का क्या नुकसान हुआ? भला कोई मुझे बोलने से क्यों रोकना चाहेगा? कोई मेरी आवाज को क्यों बंद करना चाहेगा? खैर, आप लोग मुझे अनलिमिटेड प्यार देते हैं। मैं जब जब आपके मुद्दे उठाता हूं, आप मुझे सपोर्ट करते हैं, मुझे शाबाशी देते हैं, मेरा हौसला बढ़ाते हैं। मैं आपको कहना चाहता हूं थैंक यू। ऐसे ही मेरा हाथ और मेरा साथ थामे रखिएगा, छोड़िएगा मत। मैं आपसे हूं और मैं आपके लिए हूं। और जिन लोगों ने आज पार्लियामेंट में मेरे बोलने का अधिकार मुझसे छीन लिया, मुझे खामोश कर दिया, मैं उन्हें भी कुछ कहना चाहता हूं। मेरी खामोशी को मेरी हार मत समझ लेना। मेरी खामोशी को मेरी हार मत समझ लेना। मैं वो दरिया हूं जो वक्त आने पर सैलाब बनता है। जय हिंद।
All right, viewers, now shifting focus to what's happening in election-bound states and union territories as well. Now, ahead of the visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Puducherry on Friday for campaigning on April 9 polls, Congress is now demanding a response from the centre to Chief Minister's demand for a statehood as a fresh controversy is now brewing up. Congress MP Mukul Vasnik is now saying that the campaign for the Puducherry Assembly elections has already gained momentum in the last few days as they continue to raise their demand for a statehood. Take a listen.
The Puducherry Pradesh Congress Committee has posed a challenge to the central government on the Union Territory's demand for statehood. Demands have been made to PM Modi for statehood when he visited Puducherry last month for a government event.
Prime Minister Modi and NR Congress had assured to the people of Puducherry that Puducherry will be given the status of statehood. 5 years down the line, today it is absolutely clear that the promise made by the Prime Minister, promise made by the NR Congress is absolutely hollow.
MP Mukul Vasnik added, 5 years ago when Puducherry was going to assembly election, the demand for a statehood was made, and together the Prime Minister and the All India NR Congress had assured the people of Puducherry that it would be given the status of statehood. MP Mukul said that the promises made by the Prime Minister and the All India NR Congress are absolutely hollow. At one point in time, Chief Minister Goswami had threatened to boycott the 2026 Assembly elections on the issue of statehood. But later, he backed out and again joined hands with the BJP and is contesting the elections along the line of unfulfilled promises.
All right, viewers, now shifting focus to what's happening in West Asia, getting you some dramatic visuals that have now emerged from Iran. In fact, a deadly strike is now taking place on the B1 bridge in Albos province. This is where civilians had gathered to mark the Nature Day. Now, at least 8 people have been killed and about 95 injured as explosions ripped through the key area. Now, it has sent plumes of smoke into the sky right after the US-Israeli strike, and questions are now being raised as to when and will this stop the targeting of civilian infrastructure all across the Iranian landscape.
Dramatic visuals emerged of a deadly strike on the B1 bridge near Tehran. The bridge, a major infrastructure project, is still under construction, was hit by the United States, sending thick plumes of smoke into the sky, triggering panic among civilians gathered below. At least 8 people were killed and nearly 100 others injured. Many of them families who had assembled along the riverbanks to mark Nature Day, a national holiday celebrated outdoors. Videos now circulating on social media, the moment explosions rocked the area as people scrambled for cover. The strike is being seen as a major escalation, with United States claiming the bridge was being used as a strategic supply route for Iranian military equipment. But Iran has strongly rejected that claim, insisting the bridge was not even operational and calling the attack a direct hit on civilian infrastructure. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi slammed the strike, saying targeting civilian infrastructure only reflects the moral collapse of the attacker and will not break the will of the Iranian people. US President Donald Trump shared footage of the strike on social media, claiming that the destruction of what he called Iran's biggest bridge and issuing a stark warning. He warned much more to follow, and he urged Tehran to come to the negotiating table. The attack and the sharp exchange of words that followed have heightened fears of a wider conflict in the region, with civilian infrastructure now increasingly caught in the crossfire.
All right, viewers, now big warning has been issued by Iranian army to United States. Now, in this case, Iran's army ground forces commander has now said, we do not send your soldiers back to the Stone Age, but to the pre-Stone Age. The army's commander, in fact, was in his full readiness for years through rigorous training. The soil of Iran is now the killing ground of aggressors. If you doubt it, put it to test. That's the big warning issued by Iran to United States. Now remember, it is in direct reference to what Donald Trump has said. He had already said we will be blasting Iran, sending it back to the Stone Age. And then in that response, Iran also now issuing a counter warning saying they will be sending US soldiers back to pre-Stone Age. So certainly we are not looking at any pause or any de-escalation on the ground. On day 34 of this war, we are looking at more and more escalations. In fact, right after Donald Trump issued a warning just yesterday in his war address, now Iran has issued a counter warning as well. All right, viewers, that's all we could pack in this edition of Live in Breaking. We are slipping into a very short break, but don't go anywhere. Coming up on the other side, Election Commission now directs the 200 additional companies of CAPF to be deployed in Bengal alongside 500 companies in the state.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, राजा और मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो पतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और फरसान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
Three, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the excretion issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with the valve which is to operate for suction of the excretion, which looks to be needing attention. But the crew in
very warm welcome. You're watching Republic TV. I'm Gesu Bharadwaj. Now, viewers, the war in West Asia is only escalating. Where on one hand, the US president says that the Strait of Hormuz is not the US's problem. The French president has gone to Seoul to meet the South Korean president, and they are talking about measures to open the Strait of Hormuz. We're getting you all the details, but first, here's a check on your headlines for the hour. Take a look. Facing huge losses on the war zone and loss of face, purge in Pentagon begins. Hegseth fires US Army Chief of Staff. After Hegseth asks US Chief of Army Staff to resign, reports say 2 other generals have also been sacked by the US Secretary of War. Raghav Chadha ouster row intensifies. Punjab's Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann says Raghav Chadha compromised.
ताने पर सेल जिन लोगों ने आज पार्लियामेंट में मेरे बोलने का अधिकार मुझसे छीन लिया, मुझे खामोश कर दिया, मैं उन्हें भी कुछ कहना चाहता हूं। मेरी खामोशी को मेरी हार मत समझ लेना। मैं वो दरिया हूं जो वक्त आने पर सैलाब बनता है।
राघव जी मोदी जी और बीजेपी की गोद में जाके बैठ गए हैं। उन्होंने ये तय कर लिया है कि वो मोदी जी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे, वो बीजेपी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे।
AAP leader Atishi makes big claim while speaking to Republic, says Raghav Chadha is joining the BJP. Mamata Banerjee blames AIMIM ISF for judicial officers' Gherao, accuses the Congress and the BJP of instigation. Mega boost for the Indian Navy. 5th Nilgiri class stealth frigate INS Dunagiri delivered to the Indian Navy. 4th ship INS Taragiri commissioned today. Viewers, now shifting focus and starting first with the poll-bound Assam. Now, Home Minister Amit Shah is holding a rally in the state. In fact, he is speaking to the public. These are the visuals from his rally. Let's look.
कांग्रेस ने 60 साल में 3 ब्रिज बनाए थे। भाजपा ने 10 साल में एशिया के सबसे बड़े ब्रिज, सबसे लंबे ब्रिज असम में बनाए। 4 बनाए और 2 बन रहे हैं। हमारी नीति अप्रोच असम, एस्पायर असम और इंस्पायर असम की रही है। हमने 13 समझौते कर असम को शांति देने का काम किया है। हमने बटद्रवा स्थान को मुक्त कराया है। हमने काजीरंगा के जंगल को मुक्त कराने का काम किया है। हमने चराईदेव मैदान को वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज सेंटर बनाया है। सारू साजाई स्टेडियम में 11,000 कलाकारों ने एक साथ बिहू नृत्य किया है और हमने आसाम की संस्कृति को आगे बढ़ाने का काम किया है। नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने भूपेन हजारिका जी को भारत रत्न दिया, तो असम कांग्रेस के अध्यक्ष, ऑल इंडिया अध्यक्ष कहते हैं मोदी जी ने नाचने गाने वाले को भारत रत्न दे दिया। मित्रों, ये मोदी जी का नहीं, भूपेन हजारिका जी का अपमान है। इसके लिए कांग्रेस को असम से माफी मांगनी चाहिए। हमने 3200 करोड़ से ब्रह्मपुत्र पर पलासबारी सुवालकुची ब्रिज का निर्माण किया। 555 करोड़ से IIM की स्थापना की। 100 करोड़ से ऊपर हाली गुमी सड़क का निर्माण हो रहा है। 200 से अधिक परिवारों को भूमि पट्टे दिए। 52 आंगनवाड़ी केंद्र बनाए, मॉडल अस्पताल जियाकुर रिजर्व मॉडल अस्पताल का उद्घाटन किया, 1123 करोड़ से कामरूप जिले में एम्स स्थापित किया, 888 करोड़ से 6 किलोमीटर लंबा कॉरिडोर जनता को समर्पित किया, 853 करोड़ से महाराजा पृथु फ्लाईओवर बन रहा है और 546 करोड़ से आईआईटी का एक बड़ा स्थानक भी बनाया। भाइयों बहनों, ये सारा काम पलासबारी और कामरूप में हुआ है, ऐसा हर जिले में भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने किया है। भाइयों बहनों, घुसपैठियों की संख्या बढ़ रही है। हम आसाम में यूसीसी लेकर आएंगे। यूसीसी आने के बाद आसाम में किसी को 4 शादी करने की परमिशन नहीं मिलेगी। आसाम में भी यूसीसी कॉमन सिविल कोड लागू हो जाएगा। हर माता बहन को 3000 रुपया हर महीने देंगे। किसानों को 11,000 रुपया साल का देंगे। चाय बागान के परिवारों को हम पट्टा देने का काम करेंगे और इतने सारे युवा खड़े हैं, 2 लाख युवाओं को हम सरकारी नौकरी देने का काम करने वाले हैं अगले 5 साल के अंदर। भाइयों बहनों, आसाम विकास के रास्ते पर चल पड़ा है। असम के अंदर पहले जैसी अशांति की जगह शांति प्रस्थापित करने का काम नरेंद्र मोदी जी और हेमंत बिस्वा शर्मा के नेतृत्व में 9 लाख करोड़ से ज्यादा रुपया मोदी जी ने ये 10 साल में असम के विकास के लिए खर्च किया है और अब अपना असम विकसित असम बनने जा रहा है। मैं आप सभी को यही प्रार्थना करने आया हूं कि कामरूप की 6 के 6 सीटों पर एनडीए को आप जिताने का काम करिए। अगले 5 साल में हम असम को विकसित असम बनाएंगे। मुझे बताओ, सभी लोग कमल के निशान पर बटन दबाएंगे क्या? जरा जोर से बोलो, दबाएंगे? हेमंत बिस्वा शर्मा के हाथ मजबूत करेंगे? नरेंद्र मोदी जी के हाथ मजबूत करेंगे? 6 की 6 सीटें यहां की भाजपा एनडीए के झोली में डालेंगे? तो मेरे साथ दोनों हाथ उठाइए जरा, अंत तक सभी लोग उठाए दोनों हाथ। विजय के संकल्प की मुट्ठी बींचे और प्रचंड आवाज से बोलिए, भारत माता की जय श्री राम, जय जय श्री राम।
Viewers, now that was the Union Home Minister Amit Shah addressing the public in Assam as the state readies itself to go to polls. He spoke about development, security, infiltration and many other things. He in fact also promised to give the youth in Assam about 2 lakh jobs over the next 5 years. Now, as the poll-bound state readies itself, more and more such rallies from the BJP are a testament that the party is looking to sweep the elections once again. Now, viewers, shifting focus. Now, there is a huge shakeup that's been ongoing in Pentagon in the US. Now, Chief of Army Staff in the US, General Randy George, has been asked to step down from his formal duties with immediate effect. In fact, he was asked to do so by the US's Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Now, Pentagon spokesperson has also confirmed the stepping down. In fact, they have said that the 41st Chief of Staff of their army, General Randy George, will be stepping down with immediate effect. A major shakeup within the Pentagon's hierarchies. Take a look at this. Viewers, now the Trump administration, while continuing their war rampage in West Asia, looking for every way possible to save face. Now, these are the people who have been fired or asked to step down from the Trump administration and their top military brass within the Pentagon. Now, this includes Daniel Driscoll, who is the Army Secretary, and in fact, there are reports that discussions are ongoing that he will have to exit the Trump government. Now, Lori Derriba, the Labour Secretary, also is on her way out as per reports. Not just that, in the latest and the biggest move, Pentagon shakeup, the US's Chief of Army Staff General Randy George has been asked to step down from his formal duties, and he's been asked to do so by the US's Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Viewers, now earlier, Republic's editor-in-chief Arnab Goswami spoke to the former national security advisor of the Trump administration, John Bolton, regarding the war that's embroiling in Iran. Now, the former NSA for the US government said that Trump did not have a strategy for the war at all, and that has resulted in huge losses for the US. Listen into this exclusive conversation as John Bolton lays open everything that the US has been testifying against in the public.
At least till 2019, term one, his national security advisor. He's been US ambassador to the UN. Donald Trump doesn't like him anymore, but the fact is, I wish Donald Trump had him. Then Ambassador John Bolton would have put some sense into him. Ambassador, it's great to see you once again this evening. Are you enjoying this? Are you enjoying this, what's going on, this daily charade, these press conferences, this Pete Hegseth machismo, this Donald Trump rudeness? What's going on from your perspective, sir, geopolitically, politically, domestically, and otherwise? How do you read what's going on?
Well, I think what you said earlier about Trump's incoherence is now fully apparent. And I speak as somebody who believes, and I think we've talked about this before, that the only way to achieve peace and stability in the Middle East for a long period of time is by eliminating the regime in Iran. They are the principal threat to peace and security in the region, and one of the main threats really worldwide. I thought that's what Trump had started out to do at the beginning of March. He, even earlier during the demonstrations in December and January in Iran, he said on social media to the demonstrators, keep protesting, take control of your institutions, help is on its way. And that's what the demonstrators in Iran felt as well. They're overwhelmingly across the country. The regime is unpopular, it's on weak grounds. But Trump started this military operation without preparing the American people. He didn't make the very strong, what I think is a compelling case for regime change. He didn't convince Congress. He didn't consult with friends and allies around the world, not in NATO, not the Gulf Arabs, not in South Asia, not in East Asia. And most of all, he didn't work with or consult the opposition inside Iran, which is going to have a major responsibility for changing the regime. Those are some of the reasons he's in trouble now. But he's in trouble primarily because he doesn't think strategically. For whatever reason, he thought this would be easier than it turned out to be. I don't know why he thought that. In the first term, I tried to persuade him to seek regime change as an objective. We talked about all the potential pitfalls, and he never was persuaded to do it. So why he did it in the second term and who persuaded him is a mystery to me. But I'll guarantee you that the Pentagon briefed him on each and every contingency that we've seen to warn him that this was going to be complicated. And he either wasn't listening or he thought that the concerns were not valid. So I don't think this is hopeless yet, but Trump isn't making it any easier, that's for sure.
Viewers, now getting in a fresh breaking development. Iran has confirmed that IRGC Navy's intelligence chief has been killed in operations and Israeli strikes. Now remember, Israel said that this happened during the strikes that were rained down on Ali Reza Tang's Siri, and Behnam Rezai, the IRGC Navy intelligence chief was also killed in strikes alongside Ali Reza Tangsiri on the 26th of March in Bandar Abbas. However, Iran has just now given a confirmation that their Navy's deputy intelligence chief has been killed in Israeli strikes. Now remember, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called these strikes precise and lethal, and these strikes were carried out by the Israeli military targeting a naval command center where Commodore Ali Reza Tangsiri along with Iranian Navy intelligence deputy chief Behnam Rezai were killed. Now remember, Israel also branded this operation as a lethal and precise one. In fact, they announced the killing of Behnam Rezai on the 26th of March in Bandar Abbas is where he was killed. However, Iran has just now given a confirmation over his killing. Viewers, now shifting focus and taking a look at the human cost of the war. Now, the Iranian Red Crescent shows the aftermath of what it says US-Israeli strikes on its warehouse. Peacekeepers are being hit. The Iranian Red Crescent posted a video on their social media of a destroyed aid warehouse belonging to the organization in the Bushehr province after it was hit by an American-Israeli joint airstrike. Now, the attack took place in early Friday in the Chogadak city, destroying relief items, two-wheeled containers used for transporting relief supplies, as well as a bus and even a rescue vehicle. And this statement has been released by a Red Crescent, which also added that the mobile unit used during Nowruz and New Year period for production. The US President Donald Trump has said that US forces will keep hitting Iran very hard. And now these are the visuals on your screens from Bushehr in Iran, where the Red Crescent facility has been struck. Their rescue and relief items, their rescue and relief vehicles have been struck as part of the strikes. Their offices, headquarters completely destroyed. Their building completely broken. Now these are the visuals of the Red Crescent from Iran's Bushehr. Viewers, take a look at the visuals. The peacekeepers in the ongoing West Asia war continue to face the wrath of the strikes that are being exchanged between Israel, Iran, and the United States. Viewers, we're getting in a fresh breaking development. Now, moments after the arrest of the Malda violence key conspirator Mufakirul Islam, the BJP has now released a photo where you can see the key conspirator next to TMC Supremo and the state's current chief minister, Mamta Banerjee. In fact, these are the visuals on your screens. The person in the background seen on the right side of Mamta Banerjee is the key conspirator, the mastermind of the Malda violence, Mufakirul Islam, and he's seen with Mamta Banerjee in what looks like a rally. In fact, there are multiple photos that the BJP has now released of the mastermind of the Malda violence. Remember the visuals that came in from Malda, completely disturbing, where violence, pre-poll violence erupted. In fact, 7 judicial officers were held hostage for over 9 hours. Now, the key conspirator has been arrested and he's being produced in front of the court. These are the visuals of Mufakirul Islam being seen with TMC Supremo Mamta Banerjee. In fact, also being joined by my colleague Kishle to get us more updates into the matter. Kishle, the case is snowballing. More and more details that are coming out as evidences against the TMC. You know, BJP first said that this entire ruckus was created by TMC workers and their goons. And now pictures have also been released of Mufakirul Islam, the key conspirator, right next to Mamta Banerjee. What more do you have on this?
Well, exactly. Mamta Banerjee, a while back, while speaking in Malda, was clear in saying that Mufakirul Islam and others who were arrested by CID in West Bengal were in fact outsiders. She used the word Bohiragato in Bengali, which means that these people are from outside. She said they came from outside. She said that people from Mumbai, Hyderabad have come here to create this ruckus and chaos, and her CID has arrested these miscreants. But this picture says otherwise. In this particular picture, which has now gone viral, this is from 2016. This is a political rally by Mamta Banerjee in Malda in support of the then MLA Abdul Ghani. He was a TMC MLA from 2016 to 2021 in Malda. So 2016 elections, this is a photo of that election campaign in support of Abdul Ghani. It's written very clearly that this is a program for Abdul Ghani behind Mamta Banerjee, and she is seen on the stage. In the same stage is Mofakkarul Islam, who was connected to the TMC from 2016 to 2021. In 2021, Mofakkarul Islam contested elections for AIMIM from the same seat. So 4 years, this Mofakkarul Islam was connected to the TMC and seen in the same stage with Mamta Banerjee. Not only that, he is seen with Kalyan Banerjee and other TMC leaders as well on various occasions. So the whatever statement Mamta Banerjee gave out saying that these are outsiders who came from outside to create a ruckus in Malda, and these are all planned against her government or against her party, is something that is very untrue, and is clearly visible on air that Mamta Banerjee shared the stage with the same person at 2016, which clears the doubt about his connection, about Mofakkarul's connection with TMC since long.
Right, Kishle. In fact, Mofakkarul Islam was fleeing the state. He was on his way out from West Bengal when he was nabbed and arrested at the Bagdogra airport by the authorities, in fact. And now he's being processed by the law enforcement alongside at least 35 other conspirators. And now there are visuals that we see of this one person who created so much ruckus. He took in his own custody and kept hostage 7 judicial officers, including 3 women, for 9 whole hours. This is an allegation like no other. This is huge, and it comes at a time when the state is completely pole bound, when the EC is keeping a strict eye on the state and its law and its enforcement that is ongoing. And at this time, he's seen next to Mamta Banerjee. This will definitely hit the TMC in the belly when it comes to their poll.
Well, Mamta Banerjee, she has been campaigning in and around Malda recently. She is right now in Malda as we speak. She held a rally in Malda, held a program in Malda a while back, and she was very sharp in attacking the BJP, and she was very sharp in saying that these people who were arrested were in fact outsiders and no one connected to the state or the TMC. But these pictures prove otherwise. Now, we know very well that since 3 days Malda has been boiling. There were situations which were very volatile. In fact, 7 judicial officers, magistrates were held captive inside the BDO office in Malda's Kalia Chowk area, and they were inside the BDO office while the whole area was surrounded by miscreants and goons, and this was led by this Mofakkarul Islam and others who were instigating the crowd in order to create such ruckus. And those videos have also been published where Mofakkarul Islam and others like Ikramul Bagani were seen instigating the crowd. Now, the same person is on the stage with Mamta Banerjee, clears the fact that he was connected to the TMC as well in the recent past.
Right, Kishle, thanks for getting us a lowdown on the entire situation. We will continue this conversation and we will, of course, closely track the case. For now, viewers, that's all that we could wrap in this edition of the News Bulletin. But don't go anywhere. On the other side, news and updates continue on the pole-bound states of West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Assam. Meanwhile, we're also tracking the escalations in West Asia. Stay tuned to Republic TV.
In the global employability rankings by Times Higher Education UK, only the following 6 institutions from India are ranked amongst the top 230 in the world for having the most employable graduates. IIT Delhi, IISc Bangalore, IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Kharagpur and Amity University.
Pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the excretion issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with the valve which is to operate for section of the excretion, which looks to be needing attention. But the crew in Artemis, they are well trained to handle such type.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला चमकी चाट से क्या बना है
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा आर्थिक मसाला
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला डिलीशियस हेल्दी एवरीडे
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the excretion issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with the valve which is to operate for section of the excretion, which looks to be needing attention. But the crew in Artemis, they are well trained to handle such type of situation. And also, in case if the main chain.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching Republic TV. I'm Gesu Bharadwaj. And viewers, a huge shakeup in the US's Pentagon as their Chief of Army Staff has now been asked to resign by their Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Getting you all the crushing details on that. But first, here's a check on your headlines for the hour. Facing huge losses on war zone and loss of face, purge in Pentagon begins. Hegseth fires US Army Chief of Staff. After Hegseth asks US Chief of Army Staff to resign, reports say 2 other generals have also been sacked by the US's Secretary of Defense.
पार्लियामेंट में मेरे बोलने का अधिकार मुझसे छीन लिया, मुझे खामोश कर दिया। मैं उन्हें भी कुछ कहना चाहता हूं। मेरी खामोशी को मेरी हार मत समझ लेना। मैं वो दरिया हूं जो वक्त आने पर सैलाब बनता है।
Raghav Chadha ouster row intensifies. Now Punjab's Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann says Raghav Chadha compromised.
राघव जी मोदी जी और बीजेपी की गोद में जाके बैठ गए हैं। उन्होंने ये तय कर लिया है कि वो मोदी जी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे, वो बीजेपी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे।
AAP leader Atishi makes big claim while speaking to Republic, says Raghav Chadha is joining the BJP. Mamata Banerjee blames AIMIM and ISF for judicial officers' surrounding, accuses Congress and the BJP of instigation. Mega boost for the Indian Navy. 5th Nilgiri class stealth frigate INS Dunagiri delivered to the Indian Navy. 4th ship INS Taragiri commissioned today. Viewers, now quickly shifting focus to the biggest breaking development of the hour. Now, Pakistan's defense minister has responded to India's defense minister Rajnath Singh's comment where he said that in case Pakistan causes any adversaries across border, Pakistan will be met with a decisive and precise response by the Indian military. Now, remember, viewers, this comes at the heels of Pakistan conspirating against and pushing a false flag narrative via their channels, their media and their newspapers. Now, Indian agencies remain on high alert. Now, Rajnath Singh, right after the false flag operation narrative was being pushed, gave a clear statement where he warned Pakistan of planning a false flag operation. He said that in case Pakistan causes any skirmish inside the Indian borders or at the Indian borders, the Pakistani military will be met with a decisive response. In fact, the Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi also said that Operation Sindoor is not over yet. Joining me on the broadcast is our senior editor Shravan Sen to get us more details. Shravan, a reply that has been received from the Pakistani Defense Minister over Rajnath Singh's statement. What more can you get us?
Well, in fact, Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh's statement comes at a time when DG ISPR on Monday had given the green signal for what was essentially seen a plant within Pakistani newspapers as well as channels. In fact, the article that has been published in some of the prominent newspapers in Pakistan alleges that India is going to carry out a terrorist attack and they're going to blame Pakistan. In fact, they would say, they've been suggesting that they would be using Pakistani prisoners in Indian prisons to carry out this attack and then blame Pakistan. Now, this is typical to what we have seen as far as ISI's playbook is concerned. In fact, we've got the full details of this entire plot that has been hatched by none other than the Corps Commander of 10 Corps, which is basically in charge of Jammu and Kashmir. And not just that, the DG ISPR, in fact, has given the green signal. That is the reason why you've had Rajnath Singh pointing out that yet again, Pakistan is resorting to their rhetoric, and this time, if at all there is any misadventurism, then they're going to respond hard, and perhaps this time the message is going to be harder. Now, in fact, responding to Rajnath Singh, you have Pakistan's defense minister once again claiming that, this is a rhetoric, and in fact, once again has been calling out, saying that this is just ahead of what they have been saying, Pahalgam's false flag operation.
Right, Shravan, thanks very much for getting us a lowdown on the situation. Now, in fact, we're also being joined by retired Major Samarpal Toor and our colleague Ishan to get us more details on the matter. Major Samarpal Toor, coming to you first. This is a precarious situation, extremely sensitive for India's national security fabric. Pakistan has gone so far to say that India will be the one carrying out false flag operations in its own territories, so then we can shoulder the responsibility of striking Pakistan onto the Pakistani military while they are not going to be causing any ruckus. Your first statement on this, how do you read this?
Pakistan is definitely going to try something in which, it'll find an excuse not to send its troops along with the American forces for any operation against Iran. It doesn't want its troops that it is committed to the Saudi king. It doesn't want to send its troops there as well. So, and then moreover, they are already entangled into a war with Afghanistan. So they already have their plates overflowing. I would not even say full, but the plates are overflowing. They are actually out of control, and they will go to any lengths to have it their way. And probably I am glad that this is being called out, that they are trying a false flag operation. And let me assure you that whatever false flag operation that they may try to do, our first condition would be that let the Pakistan forces go in and, go in the offensive and manage the operations against Iran. Let them stretch themselves out, and the game itself is going to be in favor of India. But presently, I do not see anything that India is, wanting to carry out any attacks. We are in no mood to do that. We are solely and purely based on peace and development. However, our intelligence agencies are on high alert. We are keeping a very strict vigil. And trust me, here, if they are caught red-handed like how they were in Pahalgam, this time it is going to be, beyond measure how we are going to deal with Pakistan. So I am very sure that they will not try to do anything stupid, because if they do, it is going to be a guaranteed collapse of their political leadership as well as the military top leadership. They are going to be taken out, and it is going to be a decisive blow to them, irrespective of whatever they might be putting allegations on India. But as far as India's stand is concerned, we are in just no mood to go to war or have any conflict with Pakistan.
No, definitely.
It is a country of no or very less relevance to us. We have nothing to do with them.
Definitely, Major Toor. Thanks very much for your first comments on the matter. In fact, also being joined by my colleague Ishan on the same broadcast. Ishan, what are the first details that you're picking up? The Pakistani defense minister has now responded to the sharp warnings that were given by Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh. What do you pick up on this?
Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh made it very clear that India is not going to tolerate any misadventure by Pakistan. This is the narrative that India has been setting ever since Operation Sindoor. And we have been seeing that this particular line of thought has been uttered multiple times, be it Bhuj, be it Vishakhapatnam, wherever Rajnath Singh goes, he says the same thing. Now we are seeing that the false flag narrative is being pushed by Pakistani media and official sources in Pakistan. And now we see the Pakistani minister also coming out and saying that false flag operations might take place. Pakistan-linked outlets are also alleging that India is preparing to stage an incident. Well, India is never done such things, and it is something that is totally out of character for India. And now this narrative is being set up wherein any incident in India can be said that India has done it, and this is a scapegoatism of Pakistan that is taking place, because this clearly showcases the fear in Pakistan's eyes that if anything happens, they might face consequences of their actions. And now that fear is coming out and people are making statements that have no place in real life and mature politics. Now, all of this is a pattern that is forming. Since April 22, 2025, when the Pahalgam terror attack had taken place, we could clearly see that this false flag operation or this false flag narrative has been clearly being pushed since then. And now we are seeing this again being mentioned by the minister.
Definitely, Shan. Thanks very much for getting us those details. In fact, thank you, Major Samarpal Tool, for joining us in the conversation and speaking to Republic. In fact, viewers, now shifting focus. A huge news that's coming in. Now, Aam Aadmi Party representative Saurabh Bhardwaj has publicly taken on the party's MP Raghav Chadha following his removal as the party's deputy leader in the Rajya Sabha. Now, Saurabh Bhardwaj goes on to say that Raghav Chadha failed to address the very issues that he ought to be addressing, that he failed to raise the issues in Rajya Sabha that he ought to be raising. Now, remember, this comes after Atishi's statement where she said that, Raghav Chadha has now refused to take up any stand against the opposing parties in the House of the Parliament. And now Saurabh Bhardwaj cracks down on Raghav Chadha where he says that the Aam Aadmi Party MP failed to raise the very issues that he was supposed to be addressing in the floor of the Parliament. Now, that's the latest that we're getting in. Major cracks that are erupting between the Aam Aadmi Party over the removal of Raghav Chadha as the deputy leader.
No. There has been no attack at all. I think it is a usual decision which takes place in any of the party that we change our leadership, and we have simply replaced Mr. Raghav Chadha as a deputy leader of our party in the Parliament with another honorable MP. So I don't think there was any controversy or there was any attack. In fact, the first, attack, if you can call it, came from Raghav, where he said that, this is just the start and I'll do this and that. So I don't think it was required. It was uncalled for. And even today, I would like to advise him as a colleague that, we have all been sent by the party, and you in particular have been sent through Rajya Sabha. So you are supposed to take up the issues of Punjab. For example, crores of rupees which are pending on central government should have been given back to Punjab, but it's not happening. There are payment related issues with respect to Manrega also. Even they have to be sorted. So you have to take them up in the Parliament. You can't raise the issues of samosa in Parliament. There are, much more critical issues today. You cannot say no to it. When everybody is walking out of the Parliament as a protest, you can't sit back in the Parliament.
Viewers, another breaking development in the same story. Now, BJP's Delhi chief Virendra Sachdeva has hit out at the Aam Aadmi Party. In fact, he has called them out over demoting Raghav Chadha. Not just that, he's constantly been calling out people like Saurabh Bhardwaj over their statements that they're making against Raghav Chadha, who has been removed as the deputy speaker of the Aam Aadmi Party in the Rajya Sabha. BJP has now started reacting, and Virendra Sachdeva has in fact mocked the Aam Aadmi Party over the Raghav Chadha controversy. In fact, listen into what BJP's Delhi chief Virendra Sachdeva has to say on the matter.
राघव चड्ढा ये कह रहे हैं कि खामोश करवाया गया हूँ, हारा नहीं हूँ, लेकिन वहीं दूसरी तरफ पार्टी के भीतर बात करें, सौरभ भारद्वाज की बात करें तो उनका ये कहना है कि वो डर गए हैं और जो डर गया वो मर गया।
तो हम भी तो ये कह रहे हैं कि अरविंद केजरीवाल डर गए। अरविंद केजरीवाल एक कमज़ोर और डरे हुए आदमी हैं और इसलिए वो सिर्फ चाटुकारों को अपने साथ रखते हैं या ऐसे लोगों को अपने साथ रखते हैं जो आपराधिक या साजिश करता होते हैं। उसमें विभव होंगे, मनीष, सत्येंद्र या नरेश बालेन जैसे लोग। जो आदमी सच बोलने की हिम्मत रखेगा या हम यूँ कहें कि अरविंद केजरीवाल को विपक्ष पसंद नहीं है, वो विपक्ष बाहर से हो या उनकी पार्टी के भीतर हो, इसलिए वो समय समय पर लोगों को ठिकाने लगाने का काम करते हैं। उसमें अन्ना हजारे हों, प्रशांत भूषण हों, यादव हों, आशुतोष हों, अब उसमें राघव भी जुड़ गए। विषय ये नहीं है कि राघव चड्ढा को अपने तपस से हटाया गया, वो किसी भी दल का विशेषाधिकार होता है। विषय ये है कि वो लिखना कि राघव चड्ढा को बोलने का समय नहीं देना चाहिए, बोलने की अनुमति नहीं देनी चाहिए। एक सांसद के रूप में आप किसी भी दल में हैं, आपका यह नैतिक कर्तव्य बनता है कि क्षेत्र की, समाज की या देश का कोई भी विषय है उस पर आप अपना मत रखें। सदन में आपको भेजा इसलिए जाता है। तो अगर आप लोकतंत्र की हत्या करना चाहते हैं, उसकी आवाज़ दबाना चाहते हैं, तो अरविंद केजरीवाल कर रहे हैं। और जहाँ तक राघव का कहना है कि मैं खामोश हूँ, हारा नहीं हूँ, तो मुझे लगता है राघव बाबू को भी थोड़ा और अपने आप को एक बार अंदर से सोचना चाहिए। उनको कहना ये चाहिए था कि ज़िंदगी पर बस इतना ही लिख पाया हूँ मैं, ज़िंदगी पर बस इतना ही लिख पाया हूँ मैं, बहुत मजबूत रिश्ते थे कुछ कमज़ोर लोगों से।
Viewers, now shifting focus to the poll-bound Kerala, where the fight for the seat is hot. Now, senior Congress leader Ashok Gehlot has in fact alleged that the CPM in Kerala is manipulating the voter list by adding fake names to the voter roll list. Now, in fact, he also goes on so far to say that CPM's tactics are very similar to what the BJP does to manipulate the voter roll in separate states. Take a look at this.
Congress leader Ashok Gehlot accuses of vote manipulations. He asserts that the Election Commission of India failed to take notice of this earlier as well. He says that the complaints are pouring in from candidates themselves regarding the manner in which votes are being swamped within the constituencies. Describing the matter as serious, Congress leaders warned that duplicate votes in these constituencies could significantly influence election results. The Kerala Pradesh Congress Committee has lodged a formal complaint with the Election Commission. The party also alleged the possibility of a larger conspiracy, suggesting that individuals handling voter data may be involved. In his closing, he hoped that given the elections are currently underway, the Election Commission will take this matter very seriously to ensure that the polls are conducted fairly.
Viewers, good news for India's defence sector. The defence public sector undertakings have reached an all-time high of over 38,000 crores. Now, in this financial year of 2025 to 2026, marking a 62.66% growth over the previous year. Now, this growth highlights India's expanding role in the global defence market, with exports spanning over 80 countries, driven by both public and private sector contributions. Now, remember, the best part about the deal is that it's about 80% shouldered on indigenous defence manufacturers. Take a look at this.
In line with PM Modi's vision to position India among the world's top defence exporters, the country's military exports have touched an all-time high of rupees 38,424 crores in the financial year 2025-26. Marking a sharp 62.7% rise over the previous fiscal year's figures of rupees 23,622 crores. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh lauded the exemplary performance of the Department of Defence Production, Indian exporters and other stakeholders. He said, India is scripting an impressive defence export success story and marching towards becoming a global manufacturing hub for defence equipment. In a post on X, the minister said, and I quote, This big jump of rupees 14,800 crore in defence export reflects the growing global trust in India's indigenous capabilities and advanced manufacturing strength. Apart from being a successful global partner for systems or subsystems, India is exporting defence equipment to over 80 countries as of financial year 2025-26. While the US, France and Armenia are the top export destination, the Philippines, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Egypt, Israel, Germany, Belgium and other African nations are also key partner buyers.
Viewers, now getting in a fresh breaking development. The National Investigation Agency has now reached Malda to investigate the pre-poll violence that broke out in the West Bengal district as the state readies to go to vote. Now, these are the visuals on your screens. There is an officially launched preliminary inquiry into the Malda violence following a direct order that came from the Election Commission of India. Now, remember, the case first went to the Supreme Court and the Apex Court then said that the ECI, the Election Commission of India, can hand the case over to either the CBI or the NIA depending on who they deem best to carry out an investigation in the matter. Pertaining to that, now the National Investigation Agency has reached Malda to begin their preliminary inquiry into the Malda violence. Now remember, this also comes as the key conspirator of the Malda violence has been arrested. He was nabbed at the Bagdogra airport alongside 35 others. Now, in the latest that we're getting in, the National Investigation Agency has reached West Bengal to take a deep look into the preliminary inquiry over the Malda violence, the pre-poll violence that broke out in West Bengal. Now, remember, we will also show you the visuals of the ruckus that broke out in Malda. Now, these are the visuals of the NIA team that has been deployed. They're going around asking questions to witnesses, to government officials, to authorities. This comes after 7 judicial officers, magistrates, including 3 women, were kept under arrest by goons for about 9 hours. They were held hostage inside the BDO office for 9 whole hours. This included 7 magistrates, including 3 women. Now, they were not allowed to seek any help from the authorities, not allowed to reach out to the police as protesters continued their campaigning outside the BDO office. These are the visuals that we're getting in from Malda in West Bengal. The same office, our Bangla, reached the BDO office where the 7 magistrates were held hostage. Now, you can see right outside this office, heavy deployment of NIA that's going around the entire area and asking questions to witnesses, to government officials and authorities regarding what unfolded. A detailed inquiry that has been called on by the Election Commission of India. Now remember, the Supreme Court directed the Election Commission of India to either assign the investigation and preliminary inquiry to the CBI or the NIA, whoever the ECI deemed fit, deemed to be the most capable to carry out an authentic, a completely transparent investigation into the case. In fact, also joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Harsha to get us more details into the matter. Harsha, the key conspirator has been nabbed while he was trying to flee the state, and now the NIA has reached West Bengal. They are in Malda and they're carrying out their preliminary inquiry. What more details can you get us?
So yes, NIA team has just now reached the Malda, the Kaliachak area, where exactly the judicial officers were trapped and they were also not being let out by the accused who has now been arrested in this entire matter, where the violence took place and how the judicial officers were held captive for 8 hours, and the DG and the DGP both had to, both reached Kaliachak after 8 hours, and this matter was taken in cognizance by the Supreme Court of India, and Supreme Court also stated that the entire matter investigation should now be led by NIA team, and I go into the deep of exactly what happened in Kaliachak, Malda. The violence broke out against the SIR. Not only this, how judicial officers who were there for the adjudication and to dispose the numbers of the electors were already under adjudication. They were held captive for 8 hours. Imagine the state security police didn't even bother to ensure that the safety of the officials should be of the utmost priority. In fact, after 6 hours, the DG and the DGP of the West Bengal came to the location, and after 8 hours, the officers came out of the captive of the locals who had trapped the 8 judicial officers who were there. And Supreme Court has clearly stated that that's not the way how the process should be taking place in the state of West Bengal. And he also held responsible the state government, the DG and the officials for not letting judicial officers out in the time in 2 hours when they first got the information about it. And now
Right,
the NIA team is at the spot to investigate in the entire matter which took place in Kalyachand. Back to you.
Right, Harsha. In fact, the case first reached the apex court, and then the Supreme Court told the ECI, the Election Commission of India, to assign either the CBI or the NIA onto the investigation of this case, the pre-poll violence that completely plunged Malda into a chaos in West Bengal. And now the ECI finally announced that NIA will be holding the preliminary inquiry, and NIA officers have now reached ground zero. They are in fact at the BDO office where the entire eruption took place of the pre-poll violence. In fact, Harsha, coming back to you over the matter, speak to us about the details of the case, and also to very closely remember that this comes at the heels of the record-breaking CAPF deployment in the poll-bound West Bengal. Harsha. We've lost connection with my colleague Harsha, who continues tracking the story for us very closely. But viewers, these are the visuals of the BDO office in Malda, where the election commission has now sent an NIA team to probe the preliminary violence that took place pre-poll in Malda. Now remember, 7 judicial officers, 7 magistrates, including 3 women, were held hostage inside this very building for about 9 hours by protesters who refused to kill their campaign against voter roll deletion. That was the issue that protesters were raising. In fact, the issue became so big that 7 magistrates, including 3 women, were held hostage for about 9 hours inside the BDO office. And now the NIA is on the ground seeking to understand what led to this and holding those accountable by now launching a preliminary inquiry into the massive law and order chaos that plunged Malda in a situation like that. We're getting you all the details right after this short break. Stay tuned to Republic TV.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
Three, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the excretion issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with the valve which is to operate for section of the excretion, which looks to be needing attention. But the crew in Artemis, they are well trained to handle such type of situation, and also in case if the main chain of the execution system doesn't respond, there is always a way of redundant chain and the methodology for execution. And I don't think it is a major issue, but I'm sure it will get sorted out. And of course, there is a redundant chain.
You're watching live and breaking on Republic TV with me, Ishita Mitra. Now, viewers, on day 35 of the war in West Asia, we're looking at military purge beginning in Pentagon. Now, Chief Pentagon head has already ousted the Army Chief of the US Army along with 2 top generals. So what does this mean for the US Army and also for the war going ahead? We'll get you all those. But first up, a quick check at the headlines. Facing huge losses on war zone and loss of face, purge in Pentagon begins. Hegseth fires US Army Chief of Staff. After Hegseth asks the US Chief of Army Staff to resign, reports say 2 other generals have also been sacked by the US Secretary of War.
आज पार्लियामेंट में मेरे बोलने का अधिकार मुझसे छीन लिया, मुझे खामोश कर दिया। मैं उन्हें भी कुछ कहना चाहता हूं। मेरी खामोशी को मेरी हार मत समझ लेना। मैं वो दरिया हूं जो वक्त आने पर सैलाब बनता है।
Raghav Chadha ouster row intensifies. Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwat Mann now says Raghav Chadha compromised.
राघव जी मोदी जी और बीजेपी की गोद में जाके बैठ गए हैं। उन्होंने ये तय कर लिया है कि वो मोदी जी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे, वो बीजेपी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे।
Up leader Atishi makes a big claim while speaking to the public, says Raghav Chadha all set to join Bharatiya Janata Party. Mamta Banerjee blames AIMIM-ISF for judicial officers Gherao, accuses Congress, BJP of instigation. Mega boost for Indian Navy. 5th Nilgiri class stealth frigates INS Dunagiri delivered to the Indian Navy. 4th ship INS Taragiri commissioned today. All right, viewers, our top focus at this hour, the big developments coming to light from West Asia. Now, IRGC has released a statement on the 92nd wave of Operation True Promise 4. The Navy and their aerospace forces have carried out rapid combined strikes with ballistic missiles and attacker drones and US radar system and naval assets all across the Gulf countries. Now, this is the latest statement released by IRGC on the attacks they have carried out on US assets. Now, they've also talked about how 2 ballistic missiles hit Israel's Ramat Dev Air Base. In fact, viewers, now cutting across to Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. All right, viewers, these are live visuals we're getting from, in fact, Visakhapatnam. You can see Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inspecting Naval Science and Technological Laboratory. This comes after INS Taragiri was, in fact, commissioned just a short while ago. And now we're looking at Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inspecting a Naval Science and Technological Laboratory. These are visuals on your screen showing you the inspection which is underway. Defence Minister, in fact, going through the exhibits which have been put up at this laboratory. Several exhibits showing Indian Navy's equipment as well. It is Naval Science and Technological Laboratory that Defence Minister is now visiting. In fact, inspecting and going through several exhibits that have been put up, showing Indian Navy's increasing deterrence capabilities and the equipments that have now been commissioned as well. And you can see on your screen these are live visuals we're getting you right after the commissioning of INS Taragiri in Visakhapatnam. Defence Minister now taking a tour of Naval Science and Technological Laboratory. He's going through several exhibits that have been put up showing India's defence might and also its Nirbharta growing in defence manufacturing. On your screen you can see he's going through several exhibits as he undertakes a now tour of Naval Science and Technological Laboratory. In fact, we are looking at several commissioning taking place today, not just INS Taragiri, but we're also given to understand that third nuclear submarine has also been commissioned today by the Defence Minister. INS Arnab, looking at nuclear submarine also getting commissioned today along with INS Taragiri. So a double boost to Indian Navy. All right, my colleague Ishan now joins me with more details on this. Ishan, do tell us, it's a double boost that is coming for the Indian Navy today. Not just INS Taragiri has been commissioned, but also the third nuclear submarine is now all set to join the Indian Navy.
Absolutely. INS Taragiri and INS Arindam are the two powerful vessels that will be joining the Indian Navy today. INS Arindam is an SSBN, that is a nuclear-powered submarine that can travel across the ocean at varying speeds. Now, the best part of a nuclear submarine is that it can stay submerged for prolonged periods of time without requiring any or refueling, and the only limitation is the crew and the food supply that is on board. It can indefinitely stay submerged. This particular submarine has the capacity of launching multiple missiles, that is the K4 and the K15 Sagarika missiles. The K4 missile has a range of around 700 to 800 kilometers, and the K15 has a range of 2,500 kilometers. All of this making it a very potent threat to our enemies.
So
Apart from that, the Taragiri also joined the Indian Navy. Taragiri is a stealth frigate under Project 17A and is the fourth of its series. Both of them highly capable, having stealth features, clearly showcasing what the Indian Navy needs. And the best part is that both of these vessels are Indian vessels. That means they were manufactured in India, designed in India, both having above 75% indigenous content. The weapon system, the weapon system, the radar system, the sonar system, all have been designed in India, built in India, by India. And they show the maturing of the Indian dockyard, that they are able to make such complex vessels without difficulties. And now we are also one of the largest exporters of such vessels, like the Dunagiri and other naval vessels have been exported by Indian dockyards. So this is all-round capacity demonstration by the Indian Navy that India has now arrived, and India is the dominant power in the Indian Ocean region.
Right, of course, the two vanguard of Indian seas now being commissioned today. It's a big boost for Indian Navy, and also talks about the fact that with the warfare changing, Indian Ocean, the Indo-Pacific region becoming more important, Indian Navy's role also becomes more important in this warfare. And with that, these two major equipment now getting commissioned today, it is a big boost in terms of deterrence capabilities.
Absolutely. Both of these are connected warships. They have extensive AI capabilities. The avionics and electronics that are there are absolutely brilliant, and this showcases that the entire ecosystem of manufacturing, that is more than 200 MSMEs were involved in manufacturing of these vessels that have been inducted into the Indian Navy today. This entire ecosystem that has developed over the past 10 years showcases that India is maturing as a defense power, and regionally Indian Navy is unchallenged in the Indian Ocean and can most importantly show that the Indian Ocean is India's backyard, and the Indian Ocean region is dominated by the Indian Navy. India is the force multiplier in this region. It has given assistance to most nations in the region and continues to do so.
All right. Thanks, Ishan, for joining us and giving us all those details. And let's also tell our viewers about the major details, the major features of these two warships that have now been commissioned, including INS Taragiri. It's the fourth Nilgiri-class stealth guided missile frigate that's now been commissioned today. It's built with over 75% indigenous content, and it's equipped with lethal anti-submarine warfare. Along with that, it's loaded with BrahMos missiles. It has indigenous rockets on board. So it is an all-around mega might of Indian Navy that's now going, in fact, into the seas as it gets commissioned. All right, viewers, now moving on to developments we're getting from the war zone areas now. A ship carrying Iranian oil shift course from midway from India to China. It's a US-sanctioned tanker that's carrying Iranian crude oil, which has now, in fact, been rerouted mid-voyage from its previously indicated destination of India. Now, this is where it would have marked the first such shipment in nearly 7 years to China. The Aframax tanker Ping Shan, built in 2002 and sanctioned by the US in 2025, is now signaling Donging in China as its destination instead of Widening in Gujarat, which in fact it had indicated earlier this week. Now, according to the ship tracking firm, there is no confirmation that the destination about the ship's automatic identification system transponder, a tracking system basically, viewers, mandated on commercial vessels, is now indicating that the final destination, and it may not change at any time during the transit. So we are certainly looking at a ship which was carrying Iranian oil shifting its course midway, meant for India, but now in fact docked at Chinese port. All right, here's now more developments coming to light from the war zone areas. On April 2nd, Foreign Minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, and Arakchi spoke over the phone. The ministers held a detailed conversation on developing situation in the Middle East and also the unprovoked US and Israeli aggression, as they claim, both the countries. And they also discussed the efforts by a number of states to de-escalate tensions. So now the breaking news at this hour that there has been a phone call that took place between Russia's foreign minister along with his Iranian counterpart, Abbas Araghchi. Both the leaders here discussed the ongoing situation in the Middle East, as well as efforts by several countries to de-escalate the tensions on the ground. Now, in fact, viewers, we have seen Russia from day one has been asking for de-escalations, for dialogue to take place. And on these lines, there's a phone call that's now taken place between Russia and Iran. Also, remember, this comes amid reports that Russia is providing intel support to Iran in this war against the US. Now, those reports come in, but amid those claims, there's a phone call that's now taken place between Russian as well as Iranian foreign ministers. All right, viewers, now a major leadership shakeup is underway in the United States at a crucial moment of this conflict with Iran. Now, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked the Army Chief of the U.S. Forces, General Randy George, to step down. Now, this marks the latest in a series of high-level exits we have seen across the military establishment. And viewers, this also comes even as the U.S. troops are now being deployed to the Middle East, raising questions over the timing, strategy, and stability within the Pentagon. Now, remember, also not just the Army Chief, but also two top generals have been asked to step down by Pete Hegseth.
A major shakeup at the Pentagon right in the middle of a war. US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked the Army's top uniformed officer, General Randy George, to step down. An abrupt end to his tenure as Chief of Staff. General George, who took over the post in August 2023, has now been pushed into early retirement. Stepping in for now, Vice Chief of Staff Christopher Leneve who has been appointed as the acting army chief. This as US troops are being deployed in the Middle East and tensions with Iran escalating rapidly. But this is not an isolated move, but a part of a broader purge, with more than a dozen top generals and admirals already removed since Hegseth assumed office. In fact, just hours after George's exit, 2 more senior army officials were shown the door, including Chief of Chaplains and the head of the Army Transformation and Training Command. But the churn is not limited to Pentagon alone. In another sign of internal churn, President Donald Trump is said to be weighing a possible change at the top of the US intelligence, reportedly discussing whether to replace Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. And that's not all. In yet another high-profile exit, US Attorney General Pam Bondi has stepped down. Bondi's time was often overshadowed by the handling of the release of files relating to Jeffrey Epstein. But the question that remains is, will these changes strengthen America's position on the battlefield or deepen uncertainty at a critical moment?
All right, viewers, we're getting you live visuals from Puducherry, where elections are due. We're looking at Prime Minister Modi holding a mega roadshow in the Union Territory. As you can see on your visuals, he's accompanied by NDA leaders as he takes a major roadshow in Puducherry. Election campaign intensifying on the ground. We're just inching closer to the D-Day, and all the top leaders now pitching in their final push in these election-bound states. These are live visuals on your screen showing you Prime Minister Modi's mega roadshow in Puducherry, how the supporters of NDA, in fact, are lined up all across the streets on both the sides to just catch a glimpse of the Prime Minister as he undertakes this roadshow. It's a small roadshow. In fact, in terms of the length, it's about 1.2 kilometers in Anasalai. It will conclude near Kamraj statue. All the NDA leaders are accompanying Prime Minister on this roadshow. He will be interacting with party workers right after this roadshow as well, and will also be heading to Chennai to discuss the strategy forward with the top BJP leadership. Right now, we're looking at visuals on your screen from Prime Minister Modi's roadshow in Puducherry. And about 30,000, in fact, people are gathering to catch a glimpse of Prime Minister. BJP supporters, NDA supporters in Puducherry, you can see lined up on both the sides of the street. It's about a 1.2 kilometer long roadshow that Prime Minister is now undertaking. Right after this, he will also be heading to Chennai to discuss and hold a meeting with top BJP leadership in the state. All right, viewers, also getting you the natural ambience that we're getting from these live visuals. As you can see, several people, in fact, have gathered playing instruments and drums as Prime Minister Modi takes on this mega roadshow in Puducherry. It's the final pitch before the crucial elections in the Union Territory, and you can see how the leaders of the BJP have also lined up on the sides to catch a glimpse of the Prime Minister as he now pushes for this final pitch in Puducherry. He's accompanied by NDA leaders. And in fact, right after this, he's also expected in Chennai, where he will be holding a major discussion with the top BJP leadership in the state. And this event right here aimed at mobilizing the final support ahead of crucial elections. And as you can see on your screen, our Prime Minister, in fact, waving to all the supporters of the party which are attending this mega road show, all gathered up on the sides of the road.
तो प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र
It's a crucial election for BJP as well as for regional parties, and Prime Minister Modi in Puducherry right now undertaking a road show as his final pitch ahead of crucial elections. Now, April 9th is when Puducherry goes to vote, and just ahead of that, we're looking at not even a week left, just about 6 days. And as we inch closer to the D-Day, we are looking at election campaigning, intensifying. All the top stalwarts are now hitting the roads for the campaign trails. Home Minister Amit Shah was in Assam, and now you're looking at Prime Minister also undertaking a road show in Puducherry. Next, he's now headed to Chennai as well. So, election campaign essentially in its final stages in all of these election-bound states, and the top leadership, all stalwarts are now hitting the campaign trail for the final pitch. And on your screen, you can see right now Prime Minister Narendra Modi holding a roadshow in Puducherry. This is just before Puducherry goes to vote on April 9th. Now, these are crucial elections, and he's flanked by BJP, by NDA leaders alongside him as he takes on this a short, in fact, roadshow. It's just about 1.2 kilometers, and it's a final pitch of the NDA in Puducherry before it goes to vote on 9th April. You can see, in fact, the BJP supporters lined up alongside the road, a sea of saffron, in fact, visible as Prime Minister Modi takes this road show in a battleground, Puducherry. It is set to go to vote on April 9th. So just about 6 days left, and we are looking at top leadership now hitting the campaign trail. Prime Minister Modi himself present in Puducherry. Next, he will be heading to Chennai as well to have a discussion with the top BJP leadership in the state. And before the crucial elections, right now, major roadshow is underway. You can see on your screens how BJP supporters are lined up on both the sides of the road. A sea of saffron, in fact, as Prime Minister Modi undertakes this roadshow in Puducherry ahead of crucial elections which are due on April 9th. So it's a final pitch that all the top leadership is now undertaking in the election-bound states. The election fever is already running high all across the election-bound states. We are looking at top leadership now on the streets, hitting the campaign trail. Home Minister Amit Shah is in Assam, and Prime Minister himself in Puducherry. He will next be heading to Chennai. And right now, we're getting you live visuals, all the top developments about the election updates on Republic on your screen. And we're getting you these live visuals from Prime Minister Modi's roadshow in Puducherry. You can see BJP supporters are lined up. They're out on the streets to catch a glimpse of the Prime Minister, to show their support for the party. And a sea of saffron, in fact, lined up on both the sides of the street as Prime Minister Modi now undertakes a mega road show in Puducherry. It's the final pitch, viewers. Not even a week left for the elections, just about 6 days. And ahead of that, Prime Minister Modi trying to garner more support for NDA, trying to mobilize more support for his alliance in Puducherry before it goes to vote on April 9th. It's a crucial election, and the final stage of campaigning is now underway. We're looking at all the top leadership hitting the campaign trail. Prime Minister Modi now taking a road show in Puducherry ahead of the crucial elections. Now, in fact, he's flanked by his alliance partners. You can see NDA partners alongside him, as well as the BJP leaders. They're calling out for the final support, trying to garner their vote base ahead of the crucial elections on April 9th. This is when Puducherry goes to vote. All right, viewers, Coming up on the other side, Prime Minister Modi undertakes a mega roadshow in Puducherry as his final pitch for the election before April 9th. Next, he will be heading to Chennai for top leadership discussions. We'll get you all the updates on the other side.
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से MTH का जल जीरा जीरा से
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग असली स्वाद असली मजा
MTH
Character, the taste of success.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा।
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of execution systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the execution issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with.
There's a clear directionless I am now seeing emerge from Trump and the US. Trump flip-flops all the time. He's been declaring victory every single day. His popularity is going down every day. And he's telling his MAGA base, don't be angry at me, I've only taken 32 days. Anyone had imagined Trump having to justify himself and his absolute failures in such a pitiable manner? I don't quite understand what Trump wants to achieve anymore. This has left Iran with an opportunity to make many more memes of an increasingly incoherent Donald Trump.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
Three, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of execution systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the execution issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with the valve which is to operate for section of the execution, which looks to be needing attention. But the crew in Artemis, they are well trained to handle such type of situation. And also, in case if the main
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ।
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ स्वाद आया? आया।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the excretion issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with the wall which is to operate.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
You don't fire your Chief of Army Staff without having a reason. But Pete Hegseth, the United States Defense Secretary, has made it a point to do so. There are 24 generals he has fired. But this one is crucial because it's the Chief of Army Staff in the United States. What led to this? Why this happened? All that and much more on this bulletin. I'm Rhythm. Let's take a look at our top headlines. Facing huge losses on war zone and loss of face, purge in Pentagon begins. Hegseth fires US Army Chief of Staff. After Hegseth asks US Chief of Army Staff to resign, reports say 2 other generals have also been sacked by the US Secretary of War.
पार्लियामेंट में मेरे बोलने का अधिकार मुझसे छीन लिया, मुझे खामोश कर दिया। मैं उन्हें भी कुछ कहना चाहता हूँ। मेरी खामोशी को मेरी हार मत समझ लेना। मैं वो दरिया हूँ जो वक्त आने पर सैलाब बनता है।
Raghav Chadha ouster row intensifies. Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann says Raghav was compromised.
राघव जी मोदी जी और बीजेपी की गोद में जाके बैठ गए हैं। उन्होंने ये तय कर लिया है कि वो मोदी जी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे, वो बीजेपी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे।
AAP leader Atishi makes big claim while speaking to Republic, says Raghav Chadha is joining the BJP. Mamata Banerjee blames AIM, ISF for judicial officers ghirao, accuses Congress and the BJP of instigation. Mega boost for Indian Navy. 5th Nilgiri class stealth frigate INS Dunagiri delivered to the Indian Navy. 4th ship INS Taragiri commissioned today. Thank you. And viewers, moving to the next big story that came in from the United States. Now, a major shuffle has been reported in Trump's key circle, with Pete Hegseth already asking US Chief of Army Staff to resign. Reports now suggest there are other big names that are on the list, and the big question is Trump losing face? Trump clearly seems to be losing face as Randy George, the Chief of Army Staff, has now been fired. He's been told by Pete Hegseth to resign. It's David Hodney, the Army Chief, earlier reportedly fired by Pete Hegseth. We've also got the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, fired by Trump over handling of the Epstein files case. FBI Director Kash Patel reports of a discussion on leaving Trump's government are also there with him. The Army Secretary Daniel Driscoll reports of discussion again are on with him on leaving Trump's government. We also have then the Labor Secretary Lori Chavez Dermer reports of discussion of leaving Trump's government.
A major leadership shakeup is underway in the United States at a crucial moment of its conflict with Iran. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked Army Chief General Randy George to step down, marking the latest in a series of high-level exits across the military establishment. The move comes even as US troops are deployed to the Middle East, raising questions over the timing, the strategy, and stability within the Pentagon.
A major shakeup at the Pentagon right in the middle of a war. US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked the Army's top uniformed officer, General Randy George, to step down. An abrupt end to his tenure as Chief of Staff. General George, who took over the post in August 2023, has now been pushed into early retirement. Stepping in for now, Vice Chief of Staff Christopher Lanieve, who has been appointed as the acting Army Chief. This as US troops are being deployed in the Middle East and tensions with Iran escalating rapidly. But this is not an isolated move, but a part of a broader purge, with more than a dozen top generals and admirals already removed since Hegseth assumed office. In fact, just hours after George's exit, 2 more senior Army officials were shown the door, including Chief of Chaplains and the head of the Army Transformation and Training Command. But the churn is not limited to Pentagon alone. In another sign of internal churn, President Donald Trump is said to be weighing a possible change at the top of the US intelligence, reportedly discussing whether to replace Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. And that's not all. In yet another high-profile exit, US Attorney General Pam Bondi has stepped down. Bondi's time was often overshadowed by the handling of the release of files relating to Jeffrey Epstein. But the question that remains is, will these changes strengthen America's position on the battlefield or deepen uncertainty at a critical moment?
The Iranian media has made a big claim. Iranian media is saying the Iranian forces have captured F-35 pilot after downing advanced US warplanes. It's unconfirmed reports that are suggesting that the Iranian security forces have taken into custody the pilot of a US F-35 fighter jet following its destruction by the country's air defense system inside Iranian territory. This is the news that's coming in right now. Iranian media continues to claim that they have taken the pilot into their custody, and this is after downing the plane. They've captured the F-35 pilot. We're trying to get more details on the story. As Iran continues to vow escalation and retaliation, the Iranian media now makes this big claim. Let me go across to Gesu Bhardwaj, who's joining us on this top story. Gesu, give us more details, as we are coming to know that the Iranian security forces have taken into custody the pilot of a US F-35 fighter jet following its destruction by Iran.
Right, Rhythm. In fact, an F-35 has been downed, and this is not the first one to have been downed by the Iranian military. And this is, in fact, a huge loss for the US, because the Iranian military now claims, the IRGC says, that the F-35's fighter pilot has been captured by the Iranian military. That's the latest that we're learning in. This is huge. A prisoner of war, possibly the first one taken into custody by Iran amid the escalating West Asia tensions. Now, also the fact that US has made zero statements about the downing of the F-35, let alone even the fighter pilot being held by the Iranian military. However, Iran has released the first statement where they say that they have captured the F-35 fighter pilot. In fact, here I have some more details with me. US's attempts, as per reports, to rescue their fighter pilot who was aboard the F-35, which has been downed, the fighter jet, they have completely failed. They've been so soiled by the Iranian military. In fact, they claim that they have captured the F-35 pilot alive, possibly making for the first prisoner of war in the ongoing West Asia conflict. Now, this is not just a monetary loss. This is not just a weaponry or armament loss for the US. Also, their fighter pilot, one of the cream pilots to have in any country, has been now captured by the Iranian military. Yet, there's no confirmation on it. This is the first statement that comes from Iran. Rhythm, back to you.
All right, thank you, Gesu, for that update. Now, viewers, the Union Defence Minister, Rajnath Singh, has warned Pakistan against any misadventure on the false flag operations just an hour ago. We told you Pakistan's response. Indian intelligence agencies are on high alert after Pakistan's propaganda drive. We're also being told that they've said and accused India of planning a false flag operation in the coming days. They claim Indian authorities might stage an attack and blame Pakistan, possibly by using Pak nationals held in Indian jails. This is a big allegation by the terror neighborhood. And not surprisingly, this narrative is swiftly picked up by major mainstream Pakistani outlets. It's amplified across their social media. Pakistani Minister Khwaja Asif said illusion of space for war between two nuclear states is inconceivable and has drastic consequences. This is the false narrative by ISI. A potential terrorist attack could take place in India, they say. It's a preemptively labeling it as a false flag operation. Pakistani nationals, they say, lodged in Indian prisons would be used in the operation. This is clear that it's Pakistan team behind the narrative. Major General Muhammad Mushtaq Ali, the DG Media, Lieutenant General Amira Hassan Nawaz, the Commander Ex-Corps, Major General Zulfikar Ali Bhatti, ISPR DG Bravo. It's clear that Pakistan terrorists, since the very start of Pahalgam, the Indian armed forces have eliminated 34 Pak terrorists. 40 Pakistani terrorists are active in J&K. Now, Rajnath Singh has clearly indicated that these people who are behind the narrative are Pakistanis, and any misadventure by Pakistan, he warns, would invite unprecedented and decisive action. Khwaja Asif had said that in the illusion of space for war between two nuclear states, it will have drastic consequences. Ishan, I want to ask you details. How did this plot hatch? It's a very clear fake narrative by Pakistan.
Absolutely. This fake narrative has been pushed by Pakistan for a very long time, wherein they have always claimed that terror acts inside India were false flag operations. This all started with the Pahalgam terror attack, where a lot of Indian CRPF Jawan were martyred. Now, during the Pahalgam terror attack, this narrative was pushed by Pakistani handles and Pakistani ISI-backed channels that India has done this false flag operation, or that Indian authorities are somehow involved in these attacks, because they are always trying to shift their blame. They have Pakistan has always supported terrorism, and their support for terrorism has caused their downfall. And now, since Pakistan itself is faced with so much terrorism, they are trying to push this narrative of a false flag operation onto India. You can also see that the recent advancements of Indian Navy and other Indian Air Force and Indian Army has pushed Pakistan into a corner where it is facing a two-front war with Afghanistan on one side and India not allowing any of its territory to be ceded to Pakistan, and this has caused a panic situation in Pakistan. And now with the induction of a new nuclear submarine, the threat perception of Pakistan has gone through the roof, and all of this culminates with Khwaja Asif's message today that India will try a false flag operation, and our strong response during Operation Sindoor or the Balakot strike showcased that India is willing to respond to all threats whenever possible, and all of this has brought forth a considerable amount of pressure onto the Pakistani authorities. So they have now again started this false flag narrative wherein India is showcased as the aggressor. However, this is furthest thing from the truth, and India has always maintained that all of the terror activities inside Pakistan will have consequences, and that was again reiterated by Defense Minister Rajnath Singh during his speech at the commissioning of INS Taragiri today. Back to you.
All right, we're also going to try and go across on the top focus story that is being reported by us to Colonel Rajiv Bagga is also joining us live on the story. Colonel Bagga, what do we make out of this ISI false flag narrative? It's very clear that Pakistan is trying to peddle more lies.
I'm very glad that they are shivering. Though we don't have much intentions of striking them. And it's a very brilliant thing. I think they are living in some kind of a dilemma, and they should live, actually. And like they are in any case, they are getting thrashed by Afghanis also and the Baluch. Now they are becoming a kind of a proactive in the terms of saying that India may attack, and this thing is happening, and the ISI people are they are planning something. The only thing which I recommend is that India need to be certainly in the terms of that they should not carry out any misadventure the way they carried out something in Delhi bomb blast. You see, what they feel, that doesn't make a difference at this juncture. And it's extremely the Brigadier Rizwan Sharif, who met the terrorists and all, he is trying to instigate them to look, we are on our back toes and they're like a back foot, and this is what has happened. India is in a very strong place. And these type of thoughts should remain in their mind.
All right, Colonel Rajiv Bagga, thank you for joining us. There's a slight issue possibly in the Zoom connection, and we'll get back to you. But that's very clear that this is something that they are worried about. And Pakistan now being warned by our defense minister, if you try and do anything, India will answer back. Thank you for joining us, Colonel Bagga. We're also getting breaking news that's just coming in. We're now being told that the big breaking news coming in is now the Iranian media has claimed the US helicopter reportedly entered southern Iran to search for the missing pilots. Iranian media is claiming that the American C-130 Hercules flying very low over Iran searching for the pilots. This is the big news that we're carrying right now. Iranian media has earlier claimed that an F-35 pilot was in their custody. Now we're being told, the news coming in, US helicopter is also reportedly very much being seen trying to rescue the pilot. Now this is very clearly Iran vowing retaliation. This is the news that's coming in as we are speaking. Iranian media has now stated that amid high tensions in this region, they have claimed that Iranian air defense had targeted US aircraft in southern Iran, with some claims also specifically mentioning that an F-35 fighter jet was downed. The pilot's fate is under investigation. Now we're being told the US CENTCOM earlier denied the US jet has been lost over Iranian territory. But the latest news coming in from Iranian media is a claim that an American Hercules flying very low over Iran searching for the pilots. Let me go across to Gesu, who's joining us on the story. Gesu, give us more details.
You rightly pointed out, this happened in southern Iran. That is what the report suggests. Now, viewers, to make it very clear, there is no confirmation of whether or not this has happened from the US's side. But the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps now claims that US's Black Hawk helicopters, in fact, the Hercules 130, are operating for hours over the Iranian airspace, looking for the debris of the F-35 fighter jet that was downed by the Iranian military. Not just that, they're also desperately searching for the fighter pilot who was downed with the fighter jet, and possibly now Iranian reports suggest that he has been taken in as the first prisoner of war in the West Asia. Tensions that are continuing to escalate. Now remember, this is not the first F-35 that has been downed by the Iranian military. However, the reports of a prisoner of war, a fighter pilot being captured, a soldier of the US military being captured by the Iran, that's a first off in this entire war, which has already surpassed its 1 month mark. Now this happened over the southern Iranian airspace where a US's F-35 fighter jet was downed. That is what the claims are being made by the Iranian military. Now also remember, They say that US's Hercules 130 and their Black Hawk helicopters, their choppers, are all over the southern Iranian airspace. They're desperately carrying out a search and rescue operation to look out for the debris of the F-35 fighter jet that was downed, and also they are in desperate search of their pilot who may have been taken as a prisoner of war by the Iranian military. In fact, Iran has responded. They have mocked their attempts. They have mocked US's attempts of search and rescue. They say that as US's reputational management goes, in hours the US will present another fighter jet, another fighter pilot, in fact, of the US Air Force, and claim that this was the fighter pilot who was downed with the aircraft, and they will say that he has been brought back home by America. Now, Washington continues its bombardment of Iranian territories amid the ongoing war, and in the latest, the Iranian military says that they have not just downed a US F-35 fighter jet, but they've also taken the fighter pilot of this F-35 as a prisoner of war. That's the latest that we're picking up. Rhythm, back to you.
Thank you, Gesu, for those details. There is more breaking news coming in that we're going to go to. Defense public sector undertakings reached an all-time high for the financial year 2025-26, marking a 62.66% growth over the previous year. This growth highlights India's expanding role in the global defense market, with exports spanning over 80 countries driven by public 54.84% and private sector 45.16% contribution.
In line with PM Modi's vision to position India among the world's top defense exporters, the country's military exports have touched an all-time high of rupees 38,424 crores in the financial year 2025-26, marking a sharp 62.7% rise over the previous fiscal year's figures of rupees 23,622 crores. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh lauded the exemplary performance of the Department of Defense Production, Indian exporters and other stakeholders. He said, India is scripting an impressive defense export success story and marching towards becoming a global manufacturing hub for defense equipment. In a post on X, the minister said, and I quote, "This big jump of rupees 14,800 crore in defense export reflect the growing global trust in India's indigenous capabilities and advanced manufacturing strength." Apart from being a successful global partner for systems or subsystems, India is exporting defense equipment to over 80 countries as of financial year 2025-26. While the US, France and Armenia are the top export destination, the Philippines, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Egypt, Israel, Germany, Belgium and other African nations are also key partner buyers.
Now, viewers, West Asian continues to escalate the war, and Iranian missile attacks struck 9 sites across the greater Tel Aviv area early Friday, damaging a train station and also a building. Republic TV gets you reports from Ground Zero.
I'm standing at the center of Tel Aviv, and here behind me, this is one of the buildings that was hit by Iranian ballistic missile with a cluster munition, illegal munition, which is spreading all around and hitting civilian areas, residential buildings, office buildings like here behind me, roads, train stations, cars. And tonight, the Iranian rocket with the cluster munition killed one person that didn't run on time to the shelter, and another few people were injured that also didn't protect themselves in the shelters. And that's why it is so important for Israelis, when they are getting their alerts of the coming sirens, to go already to the shelters and to wait there until all the rockets are hit, or either. I'm standing at the center of Tel Aviv, and here behind me you can see one of the buildings that was hit by a part of Iranian ballistic missile with illegal cluster munition. You can see how extensive is the damage, but there were no casualties here because this is an office building and it was closed on the night of Friday, and this is the reason that no one was hurt here. But in other locations in Tel Aviv, one person was killed by this Iranian ballistic rocket with cluster munition, and several people were injured. All of them didn't run on time to the shelters, and that's why they found their death or were injured. This is why Israeli army saying again and again how important to go to a shelter when you are getting your alerts on the mobile phones, smartwatches, not to wait to the sirens, even to go before to the protected areas and to wait there until for 10 minutes until all the parts of the rockets fall on the ground, either if they are intercepted or not. Anyway, people should wait for at least 10 minutes until it is safe to go out. Nicole Yochin reporting from Tel Aviv, Israel. Nicole Yochin, Tel Aviv, Israel.
Facing huge losses on war zone and loss of face, purge in Pentagon's begins. We're also going to get you more news after a short break of the how Hexeth has fired the US Army Chief of Staff.
Join International Institute of Hotel Management. Call 983-10-50,000.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है? आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट? स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा।
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the excretion issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with the valve which is to operate for section of the excretion, which looks to be needing attention. But the crew in Artemis, they are well trained to handle such type of situation. And also, in case if the main chain of the excretion system doesn't respond, there is always a way of redundant chain and the methodology for excretion. And
बुझाई ठंडक लाई सबको भाई जीरा से MTH का जल जीरा
सिर्फ असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी every day.
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the excretion issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with the valve which is to operate for suction of the excretion, which looks to be needing attention. But the crew in Artemis, they are well trained to handle such type of situation. And also, in case if the main chain of the excretion system doesn't respond, there is always a way of redundant chain and the methodology for excretion. And I don't think it is a major issue, but I'm sure it will get sorted out. And of course, there is a redundant chain which can be conveniently operated.
Good luck. Godspeed, Artemis 2. Let's go.
And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7. RS-25 engines. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity.
Facing huge losses on war zone and loss of face, purge in the Pentagon begins. Hexet fires US Army Chief of Staff. After Hexet asks US Chief of Army Staff to resign, reports say 2 other generals have also been sacked by the US Secretary of War.
पार्लियामेंट में मेरे बोलने का अधिकार मुझसे छीन लिया, मुझे खामोश कर दिया। मैं उन्हें भी कुछ कहना चाहता हूँ। मेरी खामोशी को मेरी हार मत समझ लेना, मैं वो दरिया हूँ जो वक्त आने पर सैलाब बनता है।
Raghav Chadha ouster row intensifies. Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann says Raghav compromised.
मोदी जी और बीजेपी की गोद में जाके बैठ गए हैं। उन्होंने ये तय कर लिया है कि वो मोदी जी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे, वो बीजेपी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे।
AAP leader Atishi makes big claim while speaking to Republic, says Raghav is joining BJP. Mamata Banerjee blames AIMIM, ISF for judicial officers gherao, accuses Congress, BJP of instigation. And it's a mega boost for the Indian Navy. It's good news. The 5th Nilgiri class stealth frigate INS Dunagiri delivered to the Indian Navy. 4th ship INS Taragiri commissioned today. And the focus right now, the breaking news that's coming in, it's clear the Iranian media is now claiming US helicopter is entering southern Iran to search for the missing pilot. This is a claim by the Iranian media that claims an American C-130 Hercules is flying very low over Iran searching for the pilot. This is after an F-35 has allegedly been downed by Iranian forces. Iran has said that they've also got the US pilot in their custody. They say the US is searching for the missing pilot, and hence US helicopters searching for the pilot are now in southern Iran. We have these exclusive visuals that we are playing of the particular possibly claim that is being made by the Iranian media that a US helicopter has reportedly entered southern Iran to search for the missing pilots. This is the helicopter. It seems an American C-130 Hercules. This seems to be that helicopter that Iran is speaking about. We're trying to verify the veracity of this claim. It's now being stated by the Iranian media that an American C-130 Hercules flying very low over Iran is searching for the pilot. This is the US helicopter that is allegedly entering southern Iran. This is what is being stated by the Iranian media, who claim that it's trying to look for the pilot, the F-35 pilot, who has now gone missing. All right, there's breaking news that's coming in. Iranian media is now reporting, the Iran government sources confirm Iran has captured the US pilot. This is the big news that's coming in right now. Iranian media reports say Iran government sources confirm Iran's capture of a US pilot. This is after they were earlier talking about claims that a US fighter jet has been shot down over the country. According to Iranian state media, a US F-35 was downed. The photos clearly show that it seems to be a US aircraft that has been shot. We're going to try and look at that. And after those claims, Iranian media had shown this picture of a US helicopter that is looking for the pilot, the F-35 pilot, which is allegedly shot down. This is not confirmed. Unconfirmed reports coming in from the Iranian media that is claiming that the US search for the missing pilot is continuing. And this is the big breaking news that we are staying with at this point, where we're being told by Iran another American refueler had an accident refueling. And they're also saying that another video of the US helicopter searching for the pilot is now out. Iranian forces foil the US rescue bid for downed fighter jet pilot. Iranian armed forces thwarted an American attempt to rescue the pilot of a US fighter jet shot down over Iranian territory. Those are the pictures that we are showing you. Iranian forces allegedly captured the F-35 pilot after downing advanced US warplane. Unconfirmed reports are suggesting the Iranian security forces have taken custody of the pilot of the US fighter jet following its destruction by Iran's air defense system inside Iranian territory. And these are pictures, viewers, we are showing you exclusively. Iranian forces foil the US rescue bid for downed fighter jet pilot. The Iranian armed forces are putting out these pictures. Unconfirmed media, I would say in Iranian media, putting out these pictures, how they have thwarted an American attempt to rescue the pilot of the US fighter jet. Iranian media now claims that they've captured the pilot within the Iranian territory, and the report suggests the capture of the US pilot after a warplane has been downed in Iran. It seems this could possibly be a turning point in this war, where Iran news outlets affiliated to IRGC have made a big claim about a US pilot who is now in their custody. We stay with that, and let me go across to... Now, let me give you more details of this, viewers. Iran downed the F-35 in mid-air in mid-Iran. It's being stated that there was a direct hit and explosion impact. The pilot, we're trying to see. Let me go across to Ishika. Ishika, if indeed this is true, then this is big news. It could possibly be a turning point in this war. Iranian media has claimed that the pilot had ejected from the flight and he's under their capture. We've also shown our viewers the pictures of the helicopter that had been sent by the US to try and search for the pilot. Give us more details, Ishita.
Right, of course, Rhythm. Now, it is a big loss for the US if reports come out to be true. We have seen several F-35 have been downed in the last 24 hours. Alone, Iran has claimed that about 2 F-35 aircraft have been downed. But now it's a bigger claim that's coming to light about an F-35 pilot being captured by Iranian forces. So certainly, if this comes out to be true, it could be a big loss for the US Army. Now, we're given to understand that search operations are on right now. It's a US aircraft and Hercules aircraft, in fact, have been involved in search operations looking for the pilot that may have ejected from the F-35, which was downed by the Iranian forces and now is potentially in fact, in the captivity of Iranian forces. So certainly it's a big loss for the US if reports are turned out to be true. Now, Iranian media is also claiming that they may put up another F-35 pilot because it may cause reputational damage to the US forces. Now, as of now, the latest that we know is that search operations are continuously on, and it's a US aircraft and Hercules which have been involved in these operations. They are looking for the US pilot which may have ejected from the F-35 fighter. It was downed by Iran earlier. There were claims, and now it looks like that the pilot has also been captured by the US forces.
It's very clear that this is now an attack that's taking place by Iran. Viewers, we want to just put this into perspective. First claim that's coming from Iran, and we're also trying to play this out massively here, is that a pilot has been captured in the F-35 that was downed on Iranian territory. The second big breaking news is coming in is that picture, the helicopter, which is allegedly a US helicopter, which we are getting to know is the helicopter that was sent. Iranian armed forces thwarted this particular American attempt to rescue the pilot of the US fighter jet that has been shot down over Iranian territory. It's very clear that they're giving out this narrative that the Iranian forces foiled US rescue bid for downed fighter jet pilot. Now, the news coming in from Iranian agencies, media agencies that are close to the Iranian IRGC have clearly stated that, yes, there seems to be a pilot that is in their custody, possibly captured by Iran. The IRGC-linked accounts also are posting photos of what appears to be an ejection with a vague caption. The IRGC shot down a US fighter jet over the Qassim Island is also what was said. The damaged aircraft fell into the Persian Gulf. The pilot's fate was earlier not known. But the news that came in Rao, the initial reports of the American UH-60 helicopter with US Special Forces being shot down by Iran is the report that has come in after it tried to conduct search and rescue operations to find the F-15 pilots. These are initial reports that are coming out, and this is pictures that are showing how the US attempt to try and search for the pilot over Iranian territory have failed. It's also showing an Iranian and American C-130 Hercules flying very low over Iran, searching for the pilot, and that's the visual that we are staying with. If this US pilot is actually captured, this becomes a direct crisis point because captured personnel trigger immediate political and military pressure in Washington and limits room for de-escalation from Iran. And this possibly could be used as a leverage why the US would be forced to respond in some form, even if details are unclear of this narrative being given out by the Iranian media right now. This alone would raise the stakes sharply, and we have to see once personnel are involved, situation moves much faster than standard strikes or equipment losses. I would once again repeat the breaking news coming in on Republic TV at the top of this hour. These are visuals possibly of the US C-130 Hercules flying very low over Iran, deploying flares, likely searching for the downed F-15E pilot. Now there is all right, we're also getting more breaking news on the story. And there is a Republic exclusive input from Iran on the captured F-35 pilot. The input from Iran is now nomadic tribes asked to capture the pilot alive. The announcement by the law enforcement force of the Islamic Republic of Iran regarding the targeted F-35 aircraft of the US Army. Military forces are asking the people and the nomadic tribe to capture the pilot alive if spotted and receive a valuable reward. This is another Republic exclusive that's coming in, an input from Iran on the captured F-35 pilot. We're being told possibly nomadic tribes are being asked to capture the pilot alive, and this is an announcement by the law enforcement force of the Islamic Republic of Iran regarding targeting of an F-35 aircraft of the US Army. The announcement by the law enforcement force regarding the targeting clearly shows military forces have asked for people to see if the pilot has been spotted alive. Ishita is joining us live with more details. Ishita, give us more details.
Right, of course, Rhythm, we've got some exclusive information about the capture of a possible F-35 pilot. And now we're given to understand that right after the aircraft was downed by the Iranian forces, IRGC put out a reward on this pilot. The pilot of the downed aircraft, they gave out the reward on this. And now it was nomadic tribes which were part of this region where the US F-35 aircraft was downed and they captured the pilot alive. Now, that's the latest information Republic has got exclusively from inside Iran about the capture of F-35 pilot. Now, IRGC had announced a reward on this pilot right after they downed F-35, and there was operations that carried out by the US to locate this pilot. There were black helicopters sent, Hercules 130 was also sent, but these operations were unsuccessful as nomadic tribes in the region, in fact, captured the pilot alive. And now certainly Iran will use this leverage against the US. Now, we have seen even with Hormuz blockade, Iran has been using its leverage, and now this possible prisoner of war, the US pilot captured by Iranian forces. Certainly IRGC will now go ahead and try to use their leverage because, of course, it is a prestige issue for the US and also it increases stake for the President Trump as well, because we have seen already 30 body bags have been sent back, and any more loss of lives will increase pressure on the US president. And certainly this becomes a major leverage point for Iranian forces as they have now captured US F-35 pilot. In fact, after they took help from some nomadic tribes.
Thank you, Ishika, for giving us that details. That's an input that we're getting from Iran. The nomadic tribes asked to capture the pilot alive, and this is a breaking news update that we're getting. There's also more breaking news that's coming in. And now the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps released images showing before and after of American targets destroyed in the Gulf and the wider region. Iran has now released images of American targets that have been destroyed by them. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps released the images showing the before and after of American targets destroyed in the Gulf and the wider region. As we look at those screens, we see the pictures that have now been given out by the Iranian media, and it's clear that the IRGC is also releasing these images that are showing the before and after satellite images. Viewers, we also shift focus to now Israel. West Asia continues to escalate the war. An Iranian missile attack struck 9 sites across the greater Tel Aviv area early Friday, damaging a train station and a building. Republic gets you reports from Ground Zero.
I'm standing at the center of Tel Aviv, and here behind me, this is one of the buildings that was hit by Iranian ballistic missile with a cluster munition, illegal munition, which is spreading all around and hitting civilian areas, residential buildings, office buildings like here behind me, roads, train stations, cars. And tonight, the Iranian rocket with the cluster munition killed one person that didn't run on time to the shelter, and another few people were injured that also didn't protect themselves in the shelters. And that's why it is so important for Israelis, when they are getting their alerts of the coming sirens, to go already to the shelters and to wait there until all the rockets are hit, or either. I'm standing at the center of Tel Aviv, and here behind me you can see one of the buildings that was hit by a part of Iranian ballistic missile with illegal cluster munition. You can see how extensive is the damage, but there were no casualties here because this is an office building and it was closed on the night of Friday, and this is the reason that no one was hurt here. But in other locations in Tel Aviv, one person was killed by this Iranian ballistic rocket with cluster munition, and several people were injured. All of them didn't run on time to the shelters, and that's why they found their death or were injured. This is why Israeli army saying again and again how important to go to a shelter when you are getting your alerts on the mobile phones, smartwatches, not to wait to the sirens, even to go before to the protected areas and to wait there until for 10 minutes until all the parts of the rockets fall on the ground, either if they are intercepted or not. Anyway, people should wait for at least 10 minutes until it is safe to go out. Nick Kolyochin reporting from Tel Aviv, Israel. Nick Kolyochin, Tel Aviv, Israel. This office building in the center of Tel Aviv was hit by a part of Iranian ballistic missile with a cluster munition, and you can see how extensive is the damage just from one part of the Iranian rocket. And it shows again how important it is to find on time a protected area, a shelter, a place to hide from all the parts of the illegal Iranian ballistic missiles with a cluster munition that are spreading all around, and they hit from one rocket in sometimes 10 different locations. And in each location you have a lot of destruction like here, or even much worse. This time, tonight, one person was killed and several were injured because they didn't run on time to safe areas, and the rocket of Iran spread it in 10 different locations in the center of Israel. Here's just one of them.
And we're getting news. The UK is going to send rapid sentry air defense systems to Kuwait. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Kuwait's Emir have reviewed the plans to deploy Britain's rapid sentry air defense system to Kuwait. That's the news that's coming in. Dramatic visuals have emerged of a deadly strike on the B1 bridge in Al Bors province, where civilians had gathered to mark Nature Day. At least 8 people have been killed and about 95 injured as explosions ripped through the area, sending plumes of smoke into the sky. Questions are being raised over the targeting of civilian infrastructure and what comes next in this escalating situation.
Dramatic visuals emerged of a deadly strike on the B1 bridge near Tehran. The bridge, a major infrastructure project, is still under construction, was hit by the United States, sending thick plumes of smoke into the sky, triggering panic among civilians gathered below. At least 8 people were killed and nearly 100 others injured. Many of them families who had assembled along the riverbanks to mark Nature Day, a national holiday celebrated outdoors. Videos now circulating on social media, the moment explosions rocked the area as people scrambled for cover. The strike is being seen as a major escalation, with United States claiming the bridge was being used as a strategic supply route for Iranian military equipment. But Iran has strongly rejected that claim, insisting the bridge was not even operational and calling the attack a direct hit on civilian infrastructure. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi slammed the strike, saying targeting civilian infrastructure only reflects the moral collapse of the attacker and will not break the will of the Iranian people. US President Donald Trump shared footage of the strike on social media, claiming that the destruction of what he called Iran's biggest bridge and issuing a stark warning. He warned much more to follow, and he urged Tehran to come to the negotiating table. The attack and the sharp exchange of words that followed have heightened fears of a wider conflict in the region, with civilian infrastructure now increasingly caught in the crossfire.
And we get you more news and updates right after this short break, where Raghav Chadha ouster row has intensified. Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann says Raghav Chadha compromised. And Mamta Banerjee is now blaming AIMIM, ISF for judicial officers' ghirao. She accuses Congress and BJP of instigation.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला
Three, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the excretion issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with the valve which is to operate for section of the excretion, which looks to be needing attention. But the crew in Artemis, they are well trained to handle such type of situation. And also, in case if the main chain of the excretion system doesn't respond, there is always a way of redundant chain and the methodology for excretion. And I don't think it is a major issue, but I'm sure it will get sorted out. And of course, there is a redundant chain which can be conveniently operated.
Good luck. Godspeed, Artemis 2. Let's go.
And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7. RS-25 engines lit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
First time it was canceled in February 8th. After that March, we make all the plans, we have all the hype, and it was canceled again. And finally it's happening today. So we are going to celebrate a new milestone for everybody, not only for USA, for the whole planet, for the whole humanity.
Good roll pitch.
Roger, roll pitch.
Clear directionless I am now seeing emerge from Trump and the US. Trump flip-flops all the time. He's been declaring victory every single day. His popularity is going down every day. And he's telling his MAGA base, don't be angry at me, I've only taken 32 days. Anyone had imagined Trump having to justify himself and his absolute failures in such a pitiable manner? I don't quite understand what Trump wants to achieve anymore. This has left Iran with an opportunity to make many more memes of an increasingly incoherent Donald Trump.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट, ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े,
चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
Corrector, the taste of success.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा आरती और मसाला।
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the excretion issue.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching 6 Stories at 6 with me, Gesu Bharadwaj. And let's get you the top agenda stories of the day. A political storm inside AAP. Raghav Chadha dropped as Rajya Sabha Deputy Leader, and his silence not defeated remark has now sparked a war within the Aam Aadmi Party. Now next up, the Malda violence case takes a big turn. The ECI has handed over the probe to NIA, with key victim now being arrested and heavy security being deployed across Bengal. More details in the reel ahead. Also, Iran's healthcare system is under pressure. Hospitals and medical facilities have been hit, damaged. WHO has raised serious concerns as the conflict in West Asia escalates. Meanwhile, a major shakeup in the US military as Army Chief was asked to step down, even as troops' deployment to the West Asia is rising over time. Now next up, France and South Korea have stepped up efforts on Hormuz. Macron and Lee push for safe passage on the shipment route as US distances itself. Now, another story that we have for you is India's defense exports now hitting a record high, over 38,000 crores this year, marking a big boost for the defense sector. Viewers, but first, we start with a fresh breaking development that we're getting in. Now, US President Donald Trump has put out a message on Truth Social. He says that we can easily open the Strait of Hormuz. Now remember, he's changing statements since the beginning of this very war. Yesterday, he distanced himself in the US from the Strait of Hormuz. He said that the Strait of Hormuz is of no good use to the US. And today, in fact, he's put out another message on Truth Social where he says that they can open, the US can open the Strait of Hormuz with little to more time. Now remember, this does not just come as a contradiction to his own statement while he was giving a lowdown on Operation Epic Fury yesterday, but it also comes after French President Macron and South Korean President Lee have been in talks discussing efforts to open the contentious maritime route, the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Trump says he's boasting, in fact, that we can take the oil and make a fortune. He says that they can take the oil from the Strait of Hormuz. Now remember, a complete contrast from what he said yesterday. He said that US does not need to take oil from the Strait of Hormuz. He in fact also said that US is not interested in the Strait of Hormuz to begin with. And today he has posted another message, a complete shift from what he said yesterday. He says that US can in fact not only open the Strait of Hormuz, but also take the oil and make a fortune. Joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Ishita to get us more details on the matter. Ishita, speak to us about the talking points, the flip-flop in his statements. We've seen this since the beginning of the war, but now he says that US can in fact open and take the Strait of Hormuz and its oil.
Right, of course, we have seen a Donald Trump contradicting himself sometimes within an hour, in minutes, and sometimes also even in the same sentence. And now earlier he was saying he could exit Iran war without a deal, without reopening Strait of Hormuz. But this time he has taken a U-turn again on its stance on the major economic corridor. Now this time, so I'll read it down for our viewers. What exactly has the US president said? Now he says, with a little more time, we can easily open the Hormuz Strait, take the oil and make a fortune. It would be a gusher for the world. Now, which means, in fact, he could be taking oil from Iran's critical resources. He could be reopening Strait of Hormuz. He just says he needs a little more time. So this raises question about the US's next step in this conflict. Now we have seen over 57,000 troops have been mobilized in West Asia. Will this lead to a ground operation? Will this lead to seizing of Kesh and as well as Hormuz Islands, which are located near the corridor? What is exactly Donald Trump thinking? Because he has now hinted he needs a little more time to secure the Strait of Hormuz. Now, also talking about the fact that there is growing pressure on Donald Trump. We have seen military purge already beginning in the US Army, and there's a pressure on him because fuel prices, gas prices are also rising. Now, gas price, in fact, inside the US has now risen to $4 per gallon. So this certainly increases pressure on him.
We're also getting in some more, yes, we're also getting in some more breaking development. Ishita also comes from Iran. Now, viewers, the Iranian military claims that they have downed an F-35 fighter jet over the southern Iranian airspace. Now, in fact, the Iranian media has also gone one step further, and they say that US's F-35 fighter jet was not only downed, but their fighter pilot was also taken in as a prisoner of war. Now, Iran media also claims that US's Hercules 130 and their Black Hawk choppers, the visuals of which are on your screens, are hovering over the Iranian airspace in desperate search and rescue operations. Now, remember, viewers, vital to note that this could be the first case of a prisoner of war being taken in, a US soldier who's being taken in as a prisoner of war by the Iranian military in the ongoing West Asia escalations. Now, also, in the last 24 hours, at least 2 F-35 fighter jets of the US have been downed by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. These are the visuals on your screens. Now, also, they say that a US's Hercules 130 and their Black Hawk choppers are hovering over the Iranian airspace in desperate search and rescue operation. They're looking for the debris of the F-35 fighter jet that was downed. Not just that, they're also looking for their own pilot, the fighter pilot who was downed with the flight and was in fact, as claimed by Iranian military, has been taken in as a prisoner of war. Ishita, speak to us about these back-to-back losses that the US has been facing. And surprisingly, this could be the first case of a US soldier being taken in as a prisoner of war in the ongoing escalations that have surpassed the 1-month mark. Ishita.
Right, of course, Kesu, we have seen a US incurring losses in terms of military equipment, but this time the loss goes beyond the downing of F-35 because now reports are claiming that an F-35 pilot has been captured alive by the IRGC. Now, IRGC here had announced a reward on the head of this pilot, which was in fact, which ejected right after downing of the F-35, and now it was the nomadic tribes in the region, according to reports, which helped the capturing of this pilot alive. Now, he is right now in the captivity, but the latest, we also understand that several people from across the region are now rushing to the site. This is where the F-35, in fact, was downed by the Iranian forces, and now they're rushing to the site. And at the same time, Iran is now claiming that they have the pilot alive with them. The question is, how are they going to use this leverage? Because blockade... Hormuz blockade is something they have been using for their leverage, and if this is in fact the first possible capture of a prisoner of war by Iranian forces, they could also now use this as a leverage against the United States.
Right, Ishita, thanks for getting us a lowdown on that. For now, we were shifting focus and talking about the 6 top stories of the hour. Starting first, a political storm has now taken over the Aam Aadmi Party. In a surprise move, the party has dropped Raghav Chadha as its Rajya Sabha deputy leader, replacing him with Ashok Mittal. Now, Chadha has responded saying he's been silenced, not defeated, while AAP leaders have started defending the move, from questioning his silence against the BJP to even accusing him of raising soft issues instead of taking on the government. Leaders like Saurabh Bharadwaj and Atishi have publicly called Chadha out. Even Punjab's Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann has backed the party line, warning that those who don't follow it will face consequences. Here's the report.
A sudden shake-up inside the Aam Aadmi Party. Raghav Chadha removed as Rajya Sabha Deputy Leader, replaced by industrialist turned MP Ashok Mittal. Raghav Chadha has now broken his silence, asking, is it a crime to raise public issues? While adding, he has been silenced, not defeated.
मुझे जब जब पार्लियामेंट में बोलने का मौका मिलता है, मैं जनता के मुद्दे उठाता हूं और शायद ऐसे टॉपिक्स उठाता हूं जिसे आम तौर पर संसद में नहीं उठाया जाता। लेकिन क्या जनता के मुद्दे उठाना, पब्लिक इश्यूज पे बात करना कोई अपराध है? क्या मैंने कोई गुनाह कर दिया, कोई गलती कर दी? Have I done something wrong? ये सवाल आज मैं इसलिए पूछ रहा हूं क्योंकि आम आदमी पार्टी ने राज्यसभा सेक्रेटेरिएट को ये कहा है कि राघव चड्ढा के पार्लियामेंट में बोलने पर रोक लगा दी जाए। जी हां, आम आदमी पार्टी ने पार्लियामेंट को ये सूचित किया है कि राघव चड्ढा को पार्लियामेंट में बोलने का मौका ना दिया जाए। अब भला कोई मेरे बोलने पर रोक क्यों लगाना चाहेगा? मैं तो जब बात करता हूं देश के आम आदमी की बात करता हूं। एयरपोर्ट पर मिल रहे महंगे खाने की बात रखी, जोमैटो ब्लिंकिट के डिलीवरी राइडर्स की प्रॉब्लम रखी, खाने में मिलावट का मुद्दा उठाया, टोल प्लाजा लूट से लेकर बैंक चार्जेस लूट की बात करी, यहाँ तक कि मिडिल क्लास पे टैक्स के बोझ से लेकर कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स पर स्ट्राइक क्यों करी जाती है, टेलीकॉम कंपनियां कैसे 12 महीने में 13 बार हमसे रिचार्ज कराती हैं, डेटा रोल ओवर नहीं देती हैं, रिचार्ज खत्म होने के बाद इनकमिंग रोक देती है, तमाम इश्यूज मैंने सदन में उठाए। और ये मुद्दे उठाने के बाद देश के आम आदमी का तो फायदा हुआ, लेकिन इससे आम आदमी पार्टी का क्या नुकसान हुआ? भला कोई मुझे बोलने से क्यों रोकना चाहेगा? कोई मेरी आवाज को क्यों बंद करना चाहेगा?
The response from within the party, swift and sharp. Senior leaders questioned Chadda's silence against the BJP, accusing him of raising soft issues instead of taking on the government.
There was a time when most of our leadership, all the top leaders of our party were in jail. At that time, Raghav was absconding, he went to London. When Mr. Kejriwal was arrested, he was not seen here. All his tweets, including the tweets of Swati Maliwal, are retweeted by BJP people. They are being promoted by the same set of influencers who are seen promoting BJP leaders. But I, as a colleague, will still advise him that, he should start raising the issues which are actually meant for parliament.
Some, like former Delhi Chief Minister Atishi and Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwat Mann, have questioned his loyalty, saying he has been compromised and is set to join BJP.
लेकिन एक कच्ची कॉलोनी में रहने वाले पिता को आज सोचना पड़ रहा है कि क्या मैं अपनी दिहाड़ी मजदूरी के लिए जाऊं या मैं 6 घंटे सिलेंडर की लाइन में खड़े होकर अपने बच्चों को कल खाना खिलाऊं। जब पार्टी राघव जी को इस मुद्दे पे बोलने के लिए कहती है तो वो क्यों मना कर देते हैं? ये सब प्रमाण हैं कि राघव जी मोदी जी और बीजेपी की गोद में जाके बैठ गए हैं।
Viewers, the Malda violence case in West Bengal has now taken a serious turn, with the Election Commission of India handing over the probe to the National Investigation Agency. Now, as per the ECI order, the NIA has reached Malda to investigate the pre-poll violence. Meanwhile, West Bengal police have arrested the alleged mastermind, Mufakkirul Islam, who is likely to be taken into custody for further questioning. In fact, law enforcement is questioning him. Now, BJP also shared pictures showing the accused alongside TMC Supremo and State Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee. Security remains tight across the state, with 500 companies of the CAPF deployed for post-poll law and order maintenance. Take a look at this.
The Malda incident has now reached the National Investigation Agency, with the Election Commission handing over the probe. As investigation goes deeper, Mufakkirul Islam, the alleged mastermind behind the Malda violence, was arrested by West Bengal police and is likely to be taken in custody. But more shocking revelations show the main accused, Mufakkirul Islam, with TMC chief Mamta Banerjee. BJP posts pictures showing Malda violence mastermind standing beside Mamta Banerjee, also sharing the stage with other TMC leaders.
The arrested accused in Malda chaos case, Mofakkarul Islam, is seen on the stage with Mamta Banerjee. He's seen sharing the stage with Mamta Banerjee in a viral photo which has been published now. And it was 2016 when Mamta Banerjee was holding a rally in support of Abdul Ghani, who was the then MLA of the Trinamool Congress, who became the MLA on 2016. She was holding a rally in his support, while this person, accused person, one of the main masterminds behind the Malda chaos, Malda violence, was on the same stage.
According to police, the main accused was intercepted and detained while fleeing the state from Bagdogra airport. Police also arrested 35 people for the violence and 19 cases have been started. And now 500 companies of CAPFs shall continue to remain deployed in West Bengal for post-poll law and order duties. The 500 companies of CAPFs will remain deployed in the state even after the completion of counting till further orders. Additionally, 200 companies of CAPFs shall be retained in the state for security arrangement of EVM, strong room and counting center. As per the ECI order, the NIA has now reached Malda to investigate the pre-poll violence.
Viewers, now the Iranian healthcare system is facing mounting pressure as the ongoing conflict intensifies, with multiple reports of hospitals, research centers and pharmaceutical facilities coming under attack. The World Health Organization has flagged repeated strikes on critical health infrastructure in Tehran, raising serious concerns about the safety of patients and medical workers. Take a look at this.
Education and healthcare, the pillars of any nation, are under attack in Iran. In Tehran, key healthcare facilities have been hit, including the Pasteur Institute and a major pharma unit producing cancer drugs. The World Health Organization reports over 20 verified attacks on healthcare with multiple casualties, including the medical workers. Hospitals and medical supply chains are now severely disrupted across the affected areas. The wider conflict has killed over 3,400 people, many of them civilians, and is now impacting the relief operation as well. A Red Crescent warehouse in southern Iran has also been hit, affecting aid delivery. Concerns are growing over the access to critical medicines and emergency care. Iran has warned of escalation, saying any further provocation could trigger the retaliation across the region. As tensions rise, civilians and critical infrastructure continue to bear the brunt.
A major shakeup is underway in Pentagon at a crucial moment of US's war with Iran. Now, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked their Army Chief of Staff General Randy George to step down, marking the latest in a series of high-level exits across the military establishment. Now, the move comes even as US troops are deploying to the West Asian region, raising questions over timing, strategy and stability within the Pentagon. Take a look.
A major shakeup at the Pentagon right in the middle of a war. US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked the Army's top uniformed officer, General Randy George, to step down. An abrupt end to his tenure as Chief of Staff. General George, who took over the post in August 2023, has now been pushed into early retirement. Stepping in for now, Vice Chief of Staff Christopher Lanieve, who has been appointed as the acting Army Chief. This as US troops are being deployed in the Middle East and tensions with Iran escalating rapidly. But this is not an isolated move, but a part of a broader purge, with more than a dozen top generals and admirals already removed since Hegseth assumed office. In fact, just hours after George's exit, 2 more senior Army officials were shown the door, including Chief of Chaplains and the head of the Army Transformation and Training Command. But the churn is not limited to Pentagon alone. In another sign of internal churn, President Donald Trump is said to be weighing a possible change at the top of the US intelligence, reportedly discussing whether to replace Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. And that's not all. In yet another high-profile exit, US Attorney General Pam Bondi has stepped down. Bondi's time was often overshadowed by the handling of the release of files relating to Jeffrey Epstein. But the question that remains is, will these changes strengthen America's position on the battlefield or deepen uncertainty at a critical moment?
Viewers, now France and South Korea have stepped up diplomatic efforts to secure the Strait of Hormuz amid rising tensions in West Asia. President Emmanuel Macron and President Lee Jae-myung met in Seoul, where they vowed to work together to ensure safe shipping routes and reduce global economic uncertainty. Their push for coordination comes at a time when the United States, under President Donald Trump, has distanced itself from taking responsibility of the contentious strait. Take a look at this.
Global powers are now scrambling to secure one of the world's most critical oil choke points, the Strait of Hormuz. French President Emmanuel Macron and South Korean President Lee Jae-myung met in Seoul and vowed joint action to keep shipping lanes safe. Their message was clear: de-escalate tensions in West Asia and prevent further global economic shocks. Macron underlined the need for diplomacy, saying any forced military opening of the strait would be unrealistic, pushing instead for negotiated deconfliction with Iran.
Nous avons abordé la crise au Moyen-Orient, les conditions d'un processus de désescalade et les conditions dans un cadre international clairement établi, une déconfliction étant négociée avec l'Iran, d'une réouverture du détroit d'Ormuz. Nous avons également défendu la paix juste et durable et le respect du droit international, et je veux dire notre convergence de vues, qu'il s'agisse de l'Ukraine face à la guerre d'agression russe, ou qu'il s'agisse aussi de la paix et de la stabilité dans la péninsule coréenne. C'est la même vision que nous défendons.
South Korea, heavily dependent on oil flowing through Hormuz, also stressed urgent cooperation on energy security.
마크롱 대통령님과 저는 중동 전쟁이 이야기한 경제 및 에너지 위기에 공동 대응하고자 정책 경험과 전략을 공유하고 글로벌 경제의 불확실성 해소를 위해 함께 노력하기로 하였습니다. 원자력 및 해상 풍력 분야의 협력을 확대하여 에너지 안보를 강화하는 한편으로 호르무즈 해협 내 안전한 해상 수송로 확보를 위해 협력하겠다는 의지도 확인하였습니다.
The two leaders also expanded ties in nuclear energy, offshore wind, and defense, signaling a broader strategic alignment. But this diplomatic push came against a sharp shift from Washington, as President Donald Trump had already distanced America from the crisis, saying the United States had nothing to do with the strait and would not police it. As tensions in the Middle East continue, the future of global oil supply depends less on military might and more on diplomatic balancing.
Viewers, now defense public sector undertakings have reached an all-time high, crossing over 38,000 crore rupees in the financial year 2025-26, marking a 62.66% growth over the previous year. Now, this growth, this percentage highlights India's expanding role in the global defense market, with exports spanning over 80 countries, driven by both public and private sector contributions. Take a look at this.
In line with PM Modi's vision to position India among the world's top defense exporters, the country's military exports have touched an all-time high of rupees 38,424 crores in the financial year 2025-26, marking a sharp 62.7% rise over the previous fiscal year's figures of rupees 23,600 622 crores. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh lauded the exemplary performance of the Department of Defence Production, Indian exporters and other stakeholders. He said, India is scripting an impressive defence export success story and marching towards becoming a global manufacturing hub for defence equipment. In a post on X, the minister said, and I quote, "This big jump of rupees 14,800 crore in defence export reflect the growing global trust in India's indigenous capabilities and advanced manufacturing strength." Apart from being a successful global partner for systems or subsystems, India is exporting defence equipment to over 80 countries as of financial year 2025-26. While the US, France and Armenia are the top export destination, the Philippines, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Egypt, Israel, Germany, Belgium and other African nations are also key partner buyers.
Viewers, now India has significantly boosted its naval firepower with the commissioning of the stealth frigate INS Taragiri. The warship is the fourth of the advanced Nilgiri class under Project 17A and was inducted into the Indian Navy at Visakhapatnam in the presence of Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Take a look at these visuals while I bid you goodbye. Find us here tomorrow, same time, for the 6 biggest stories of the day.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा,
In the global employability rankings by Times Higher Education UK, only the following 6 institutions from India are ranked amongst the top 230 in the world for having the most employable graduates. IIT Delhi, IISc Bangalore, IIT Bombay, IIM Ahmedabad, IIT Kharagpur and Amity University.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है? आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट? स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it's a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the excretion issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with the valve which is to operate for section of the excretion, which looks to be needing attention. But the crew in Artemis, they are well trained to handle such type of situation. And also, in case if the main chain of the excretion system doesn't respond, there is always a way of redundant chain and the methodology for excretion, and I don't think it is a major issue, but I'm sure it will get sorted out. And of course, there is.
Join International Institute of Hotel Management. Call 983-10-50,000.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा से MTH का जल जीरा जीरा से
जीरा सिप असली रिफ्रेशिंग असली स्वाद असली मजा
MTH
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Okay, overboard dump coming up.
Actually, there is always a redundant chain of excretion systems available on the Artemis. Okay, it is not just the main chain, and it is a redundant chain is also available. And there is no way that the astronauts will be stuck because of the the excretion issues. And what they have reported now, even we were going through and seeing, it is something to do with the valve which is to operate for section of the excretion, which looks to be needing attention. But the crew in Artemis, they are well trained to handle such type of situation. And also, in case if the main chain of the excretion system doesn't respond, there is always a way of redundant chain and the methodology for excretion. And I don't think it is a major issue, but I'm sure it will get sorted out. And of course, there is a redundant chain which can be conveniently operated.
Good luck. Godspeed, Artemis 2. Let's go.
And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7. RS-25 engines. 4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
First time it was canceled in February 8th. After that March, we make all the plans, we have all the hype, and it was canceled again. And finally it's happening today. So we are going to celebrate a new milestone for everybody, not only for USA, for the whole planet, for the whole humanity.
Good roll pitch.
Roger, roll pitch.
Houston, now controlling the flight of integrity. 50 seconds of mission elapsed time. Standing by for main engine throttle up. Guidance converged.
3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity.
Directionless, I am now seeing emerge from Trump and the US. Trump flip-flops all the time. He's been declaring victory every single day. His popularity is going down every day. And he's telling his MAGA base, don't be angry at me, I've only taken 32 days. Anyone had imagined Trump having to justify himself and his absolute failures in such a pitiable manner? I don't quite understand what Trump wants to achieve anymore. This has left Iran with an opportunity to make many more memes of an increasingly incoherent Donald Trump.
Facing huge losses on war zone and loss of face, purge in Pentagon begins. Hegseth now fires US Army Chief of Staff. After Hexet asks the US Chief of Army Staff to resign, reporters say 2 other generals have also been sacked by the US Secretary of War.
जिन लोगों ने आज पार्लियामेंट में मेरे बोलने का अधिकार मुझसे छीन लिया, मुझे खामोश कर दिया, मैं उन्हें भी कुछ कहना चाहता हूं। मेरी खामोशी को मेरी हार मत समझ लेना, मैं वो दरिया हूं जो वक्त आने पर सैलाब बनता है।
Raghav Chadha ouster row intensifies. Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwat Mann now says Raghav Chadha compromised.
राघव जी मोदी जी और बीजेपी की गोद में जाके बैठ गए हैं। उन्होंने ये तय कर लिया है कि वो मोदी जी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे, वो बीजेपी के खिलाफ नहीं बोलेंगे।
AAP leader Atishi now makes a big claim while speaking to Republic, says Raghav Chadha now set to join BJP. Mamata Banerjee blames AIMIM ISF for judicial officers. Gherao accuses Congress BJP of instigation. Mega boost for Indian Navy 5th Nilgiri class stealth frigate INS Dunagiri delivered to Indian Navy. 4th ship INS Taragiri commissioned today. All right, viewers, our top focus at this are the big shake-up that's now taking place inside Aam Aadmi Party. Now, right after Raghav Chadha was removed from his position as a deputy leader of the Rajya Sabha, we are now looking at big claims coming to light. From Saurabh Bharadwaj to Atishi, all are now saying that Raghav Chadha is compromised. He is now all set to join the Bharatiya Janata Party. The big question what will be his next move? In fact, as we track all the latest that we're getting on this controversy, let's take a listen to all the reactions.
मुझे जब जब पार्लियामेंट में बोलने का मौका मिलता है, मैं जनता के मुद्दे उठाता हूं और शायद ऐसे टॉपिक्स उठाता हूं जिसे आम तौर पर संसद में नहीं उठाया जाता है। लेकिन क्या जनता के मुद्दे उठाना, पब्लिक इश्यूज पे बात करना कोई अपराध है? क्या मैंने कोई गुनाह कर दिया, कोई गलती कर दी? हैव आई डन समथिंग रॉन्ग? ये सवाल आज मैं इसलिए पूछ रहा हूं क्योंकि आम आदमी पार्टी ने राज्यसभा सेक्रेटेरिएट को ये कहा है कि राघव चड्ढा के पार्लियामेंट में बोलने पर रोक लगा दी जाए। जी हां, आम आदमी पार्टी ने पार्लियामेंट को यह सूचित किया है कि राघव चड्ढा को पार्लियामेंट में बोलने का मौका ना दिया जाए। अब भला कोई मेरे बोलने पर रोक क्यों लगाना चाहेगा? मैं तो जब बात करता हूं देश के आम आदमी की बात करता हूं। एयरपोर्ट पर मिल रहे महंगे खाने की बात रखी, जोमैटो ब्लिंकिट के डिलीवरी राइडर्स की प्रॉब्लम रखी, खाने में मिलावट का मुद्दा उठाया, टोल प्लाजा लूट से लेकर बैंक चार्जेस लूट की बात करी, यहां तक कि मिडिल क्लास पे टैक्स के बोझ से लेकर कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स पर स्ट्राइक क्यों करी जाती है, टेलीकॉम कंपनियां कैसे 12 महीने में 13 बार हमसे रिचार्ज कराती हैं, डेटा रोल ओवर नहीं देती हैं, रिचार्ज खत्म होने के बाद इनकमिंग रोक देती है, तमाम इश्यूज मैंने सदन में उठाए। और ये मुद्दे उठाने के बाद देश के आम आदमी का तो फायदा हुआ, लेकिन इससे आम आदमी पार्टी का क्या नुकसान हुआ? भला कोई मुझे बोलने से क्यों रोकना चाहेगा? कोई मेरी आवाज को क्यों बंद करना चाहेगा? खैर, आप लोग मुझे अनलिमिटेड प्यार देते हैं। मैं जब जब आपके मुद्दे उठाता हूं, आप मुझे सपोर्ट करते हैं, मुझे शाबाशी देते हैं, मेरा हौसला बढ़ाते हैं। मैं आपको कहना चाहता हूं थैंक यू। ऐसे ही मेरा हाथ और मेरा साथ थामे रखिएगा, छोड़िएगा मत। मैं आपसे हूं और मैं आपके लिए हूं। और जिन लोगों ने आज पार्लियामेंट में मेरे बोलने का अधिकार मुझसे छीन लिया, मुझे खामोश कर दिया, मैं उन्हें भी कुछ कहना चाहता हूं। मेरी खामोशी को मेरी हार मत समझ लेना, मेरी खामोशी को मेरी हार मत समझ लेना। मैं वो दरिया हूं जो वक्त आने पर सैलाब बनता है। जय हिंद।
All right, now while AAP leaders are questioning Raghav Chadha's loyalty towards the party, they are saying that he might be compromised, moving towards the BJP. BJP has come out mocking this move, calling it an instance of infighting. Take a listen.
ये साफ दिखाई देता है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल की जो आम आदमी पार्टी है वो व्यक्ति केंद्रित हो गई है। अब केवल वही उस पार्टी में रहेगा जो अरविंद केजरीवाल की बातों का अनुसरण करेगा, तो उसको फॉलो करेगा। जिन मुद्दों को लेकर के आम आदमी पार्टी बनी थी, लोकपाल के मुद्दे थे, वो सारे मुद्दे अब खत्म हो गए और अरविंद केजरीवाल सत्ता, सुख और सुविधा इनके इर्द गिर्द अपने आप को रखे हुए हैं। और राघव चड्ढा कोई पहला नाम नहीं है। राघव चड्ढा से भी पहले एक लंबी फहरिस्त है ऐसे लोगों की जो पार्टी के फाउंडर थे, लेकिन क्योंकि उनकी अरविंद केजरीवाल के विचारों से नहीं मिलान हुआ तो उनको बाहर का रास्ता दिखाया। वही काम राघव चड्ढा के साथ किया है।
सर, आम आदमी पार्टी के लीडर्स क्लेम कर रहे हैं कि राघव चड्ढा जो है वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज हैं और बीजेपी की तरफ जाने वाले हैं, तो इस विषय पे आपको क्या कहना है?
देखिए, पहली बात तो ये है कि मैं नहीं समझ पा रहा कि राघव चड्ढा कैसे कॉम्प्रोमाइज हुए। अगर कॉम्प्रोमाइज हैं तो आम आदमी पार्टी को स्पष्ट करना चाहिए।
आतिशी जी को पता होना चाहिए कि मोदी जी से डरने की बात नहीं है। राघव चड्ढा जी को आम आदमी पार्टी के नेता सुप्रीमो अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की असलियत पता चल गई और किस तरह से वो झूठ का प्रचार करते हैं ये भी राघव चड्ढा जी को इतने दिनों में पता चल गया होगा। तो ये बीजेपी को ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, आतिशी जी की स्टेटमेंट जब दे रही हैं तो उससे पहले उन्हें यह समझना चाहिए कि आपके अपने ही व्यक्ति का आपकी पार्टी से मोहभंग क्यों हुआ है।
मैम, क्योंकि आप खुद भी एक जनप्रतिनिधि हैं, जब एक जनप्रतिनिधि राज्यसभा में लोगों के मुद्दे सामने रखता है, क्योंकि राघव चड्ढा पिछले कुछ समय से लगातार हमको देखने को मिल रहा है कि वो लोगों के बीच की बात राज्यसभा में लेकर आते रहे हैं। अब आम आदमी पार्टी जो अपने आप को एक आम आदमी की पार्टी बोलती है, वो ये कह रही है कि ये जो मुद्दे हैं ये छोटे मुद्दे हैं और इसलिए पार्टी का जो ये फैसला है ये उन्होंने लिया। आप खुद क्योंकि एक जनप्रतिनिधि है तो आप इसको कैसे देखती हैं?
राज्यसभा में न केवल उन्हें डिप्टी लीडर की पोजीशन से हटाया गया है, बल्कि राज्यसभा के टेबल ऑफिस को ये भी इन्फॉर्म कर दिया गया है कि पार्टी के समय में से उनको कोई समय ना दिया जाए। मुझे लगता है ये लोकतंत्र के ऊपर बहुत बड़ा कुठाराघात है। आपने अपनी पार्टी से किसी को भेजा, आप वो व्यक्ति अपनी स्टेट के मुद्दे भी उठा सकता है और जो आप कहेंगे वो भी करेंगे, तो आपके पास तो कहने के लिए कुछ है नहीं। लेकिन कोई व्यक्ति अगर मुद्दा उठाता है और उसको लाइमलाइट मिलता है तो मुझे लगता है अरविंद केजरीवाल जी इस बात को बर्दाश्त नहीं कर पाते। और रही बात राघव चड्ढा जी की, उनके मुझे लगता है फाउंडर मेंबर्स में से राघव चड्ढा जी एक रहे हैं। उनकी पार्टी के मजबूत सिपाही के रूप में उन्होंने साथ मिलकर काम किया है। तो आज अगर आम आदमी पार्टी का एक प्रमुख चेहरा पार्टी को छोड़कर जा रहा है तो अरविंद केजरीवाल जी या आतिशी जी को भ्रम फैलाने की बजाय उसकी वास्तविकता जाननी चाहिए कि ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है।
मैम, क्योंकि आतिशी जो खुद पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री हैं दिल्ली की, उनकी तरफ से बयान आया है कि शायद आम आदमी पार्टी छोड़कर राघव चड्ढा बीजेपी ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं। इसके लिए क्या ऐसा कुछ होने को देखने को मिल सकता है? क्योंकि उनकी 2028 तक राज्यसभा में जो मेंबरशिप है वो है और उसके बाद 2029 में चुनाव है, तो इस पर कुछ।
देखिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी अपना चुनाव अपने पार्टी के दम पर लड़ती है। आज हम लोकसभा में बहुमत पर है, राज्यसभा में भी हमारा नंबर बढ़ा है। उनकी पार्टी का ये इंटरनल मामला है जो भी हो रहा है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी अपनी दल और अपनी विचारधारा की राजनीति करती है। किसी के यहाँ क्या हो रहा है उससे भारतीय जनता पार्टी कोई मतलब नहीं रखती।
All right, viewers, now let's move on to developments we're getting from the war zones in West Asia. In fact, my colleague Raghav Chadha is also present with us and she'll take the viewers through the breakdown and the latest developments we're getting from the war zone areas on day 35.
Thank you so much, Ishta. Well, shifting focus now, it is a story that's coming in from United States viewers. What we are seeing is a major shuffle that has been reported from Trump's inner circle, the key circle, with Pete Hegseth, the war secretary, already asking the U.S. Chief of Army Staff to resign. Reports also suggest some other big names are on the list. And the big question is Trump losing face now? All right, we'll just bring you that report on what's happening with Donald Trump. There are other names also that are doing the rounds. So there is a leadership shakeup that is being witnessed as far as this entire case is concerned. A major leadership shakeup is underway in the United States at a crucial moment. It's with Iran's conflict underway, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth asking the Army Chief General Randy George to step down, marking the latest in a series of high-level exits across the military establishment. And this comes even as U.S. troops are being deployed to the West Asia, raising questions over their timing, strategy, and the stability within the Pentagon. All right, another piece of news that we're playing out is the claim of Iran of striking another F-35, and Iranian media says that that Iran has captured the pilot. We do not know yet, but we'll just dip into that in a short while from now. But let me just tell you about, give you a lowdown on the exit of the Army Chief, the Chief of Army Staff of the United States of America. This is what we understand, that Pete Hegseth had asked him to resign and retire, that they want someone who actually can deliver to the plans of the president, who's the commander of the forces. We can just keep moving. If this graphic moves, we can just move forward with it. This is Chief of Army Staff Randy George. And okay, he's losing face. And that's what I can tell you. And I think we should have more breaking news. We can play them out if we have. So we have breaking news coming in right now. Iranian media claims that U.S. helicopter reportedly entered southern Iran to search for the missing pilot. And Iranian media also goes on to claim that an American C-130 Hercules flying very low over Iran to search for their pilot. So Iranian media is reporting that that the government of Iran, the regime, has confirmed the capture of the U.S. pilot. And Iranian media claims that there are now a C-130 that is visible in the skies, flying low and trying to search for the missing pilot, while the Iranian government says that the pilot, the U.S. pilot, has been captured. And that's, of course, a very, very serious escalation that we are learning of. If it is true, what has been claimed in these reports, or rather, the reports are citing what Iranian government is saying, what those in the government are saying, that the pilot has been captured. And this is what we are learning as of now. We do not know exactly about the whereabouts of the pilot. We'll try and get more details on that. Meanwhile, as far as this situation is concerned, input coming in from Iran that the nomadic tribes were asked to in fact capture this pilot. The F-35 pilot, one F-35 has been shot down. Earlier as well, Iran had claimed, and even the CENTCOM had admitted that one F-35 was downed. But it, of course, gave different reasons, that it was that the pilot had ejected and that was some emergency landing. And now there are two videos of it also, this time, of the second F-35 that Iran is claiming to have hit. And now Iranian forces had also announced a reward for capture of the F-35 pilot. And now it's exclusive input that Republic TV is bringing to you viewers on the F-35 pilot, that nomadic tribes were asked to capture the pilot alive. And this could be a serious escalation in this war. You can see those visuals. This is a very, very serious incident that we are learning of. We do not have anything official from the United States yet on this, but Iran is claiming that this this jet has been downed and the pilot is captured. This F-35 captured, and that U.S. rescue attempt has been foiled, because there have been helicopters, there have been aircraft that are, the C-130 aircraft was flying very low to rescue the pilot. Iranian media says that the stealth aircraft was shot down over central Iran by the IRGC. Tasnim news agency also reporting that, this is the Iranian news agency reporting that the pilot had ejected and he landed within Iran. And Iranian state media says that several people went to that area around the reported crash site of that downed US fighter jet in southwestern Iran in private cars, trying to capture the pilot. And the state broadcaster of Iran, IRIB or IRIB, reports that these claims are not yet independently verified, but Iranian armed forces have urged the public to not let anyone mistreat the pilot. At least that is what IRIB is saying, the state broadcaster. We can connect with reporters on ground as well, or can connect with some experts also as to what this could really mean. Gesu, meanwhile, joins us live on the broadcast from the newsroom. Gesu, tell us more details about this incident, about this captured, reportedly captured pilot. Gesu.
Very clearly pointed out by you. Also, the Iranian military has now claimed that they have not just downed an F-35 fighter jet of the US military, but also the fact that they have taken as a prisoner of war a US soldier, the fighter pilot of the F-35 that was downed by the Iranian military over southern Iranian airspace. Now, these are the two visuals of US's Hercules 130 and their Black Hawk choppers that are hovering over the southern Iranian airspace in desperate attempts of search and rescue. They're not just looking for the debris of the F-35 fighter jet, but as per reports, as per Iranian reports, they're also trying to find the F-35 fighter jet fighter pilot who was downed with the plane. However, he's been captured alive by the Iranian military. Now, this would make up for the first case of a prisoner of war being taken in the West Asia escalations. A US soldier, their fighter pilot, has possibly been taken in as a prisoner of war in the West Asia escalations. Now, these are the visuals of US's Hercules 130 and their Black Hawk choppers that are hovering over the southern Iranian airspace. These are the visuals from earlier today. We're yet to get any confirmation from the US over any statement from the US over the capture of their pilot, over the downing of their F-35 fighter jet. Now remember, this is not a one-off incident. In the last few hours, in the last 2 days at least, 2 F-35 fighter jets have been downed by the Iranian military.
Okay.
Not just that, this one makes up for a bigger case because possibly the fighter pilot who was aboard the F-35 has been taken in as a prisoner of war. Rakshita,
Stay on with us, Gesu. We have Defense expert Major General G.D. Bakshi joining us on the phone line. General Bakshi,